Mic check, mic check. Check 2 1 2. Mic check, mic check.
Hey.
Are we live? Are
Hello.
we alive?
Hello.
Are we here? What's good, everybody?
I,
Welcome,
I hear
welcome.
us.
Okay, let me bring up chat. All right, I got it over here. And you guys should be able to see chat, right? In
Yeah.
this thing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, yo, this your boy James over at XpectoGO. Bring you guys the latest greatest in Hogwarts Legacy content. And today we have a special Wizarding Wednesday live stream for you guys. I'm joined by a prestigious panel of the who's who in Hogwarts Legacy content creation. And we're going to be talking all things Hogwarts Legacy. This will be a spoiler filled discussion. So if you're still trying to avoid it, or if you feel like, I'm not there yet, bookmark this joint, save it to the side, put it on your watch later list, and then come back, join the conversation. We love to interact with you in the comment section. But that being said, I want to make sure I introduce these lovely people correctly, starting with the ladies first. Let's go with Lynette over at Wizard PhD.
Hello. As you were talking, I was like, when are our chocolate frog cards going to be made of like Hogwarts Legacy content creator chocolate frog cards?
Great idea.
Who can we commission for this?
Easter egg in the second one, for sure.
Oh my gosh. Hello, I'm Prof. Lynette. I am from Wizard PhD and I'm a Ravenclaw. I don't know what else to say, so I'm going to pass it down to Miranda Lorian.
All right, Miranda, tell the lovely folks in the community who you might be.
Well, I'm Miranda, Miranda Lorian on YouTube. I don't even need an introduction. No one cares. I just want to show you something really cool.
Rocking the robe. I love it.
Yo, the Huffle. I saw
That's
it
the
just
intro.
on Twitter, and I was like,
That's it.
yo, I need that.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I even
God, everyone be with
turned
that.
my wand on for the occasion. It's there spinning in the background. That's like all I care about.
Yes.
Yes.
awesome.
Bringing that fire. I love it. Thank you for showing off. We got the fashion show early on. Next up, we got Kellen over at Wizards Tricks. What's up, Kel?
What's up? Yep, this is Kellen, Wizard Tricks. Hope everyone's doing good. I'm a Ravenclaw, if you don't know, so I'll throw that one in there too.
Excuse me. And last but certainly not least, we got the man, the myth, the legend, Retro Recator. Everybody say hello, Retro. How you
People of
doing,
the internet, welcome in. Just a dad who loves games and the stories they tell. I'm a Gryffindor, so I guess we have everybody except Slytherin.
I think this has happened before.
Wait, no, James is a secret Slytherin. Haven't
No,
we all
don't
decided
even-
that?
Don't even start that. That has been a thing since Wizards Unite, like ages ago.
The
No, we're not.
slander.
We're not
Now,
doing
all
that.
this time, James.
All this time. Always.
A Slytherin
No,
would do that though, right?
I mean,
It's true.
yes,
They
but
pretend,
that's-
not
There
to
you
be, right?
Okay, first and foremost, there is nothing against Slytherins. There's nothing against
We love
Slytherins.
Slytherin.
We love Slytherins. I'm just saying I am a proud Hufflepuff. I've taken the quiz, whatever, 2 or 3 times, even had the community do it for me one special time, and they answered how they think I would answer, and I still got Hufflepuff. So I'm Hufflepuff through and through. Like, I'm just saying.
They're scary. They know you too well. That's
I know.
scary.
That is
You need to
very
start over
scary.
now.
But like I said earlier, we're here to discuss spoiler heavy Hogwarts Legacy content. Our thoughts with the game overall, our experiences, and story, lore, everything in between, but particularly moving forward with the game, whether it's DLC, whether it's a sequel. Where do we see the series moving forward? What our hopes, dreams, and possibilities that we foresee moving forward with Hogwarts Legacy. So we're going to start off, and if you guys throw it, wait, I got to acknowledge something. I missed this. Elwin with the gifted Membies in the chat. How did I miss that? Elwin always coming in clutch with the gifted subs on Twitch, and gifted memberships on YouTube. So
I know, right? We got to keep track of the platform.
I know. I'm like gifted subbies on Twitch, gifted Membies on YouTube. But if you just got one, make sure you say thank you to Elwin. And Elwin, of course, thank you so much for spreading the Lumos in the chat and all that jazz. Let me get the gifts emotes in the chat from the Patronus squad. But we're going right in. So The first question has to be said. Rating. What's your score? What is your score for this game? And a brief description as to why, and then we'll get into more details. So I
What's the
started with
rating?
Lynette this time.
0 to
Let's
10?
go with.
Yeah, I think it's 0 to 10.
Here, I'll start with something.
Yeah.
Give them a chance to think for a second. I just
Okay.
want to say real quick
Okay.
how excited I am to be here because it's just been such a weird 2 months, right? Because we had this time right before launch where we all just like we got to know each other so well, and there were so many conversations happening, and the game came out, and we just had to go dark. Like, I don't know where they're at. I don't know how much they played.
Yeah.
So I'm like just bursting with things I want to talk about. I don't know how long you guys have.
This is such a retro
in.
start to the stream. I just want to say that. Like, can I just say something? Yes. That's so you.
Jump in here.
Yeah.
But so a couple weeks ago, I didn't know how long it was going to go. I was like, I'm just going to do a deep dive review. And it was like 4 hours long, 4-hour live stream.
Yes.
So I've had a lot of time to think about rating, that sort of thing. So I'm coming in with a very solid 9 out of 10 if I had to give it a score.
Okay.
I initially said like 9.5, and then the more I thought about it, I was like, okay, after that initial, you know how that initial high of the hype wears off. So I've had a chance. I beat the game several weeks ago, so I've had a chance to come down and really reflect. So 9 out of 10. I mean, I think it was a phenomenal game overall. I was really impressed with so many things. And it's been interesting to see the reaction from the community because I don't know that I would have ever predicted the community being harder on the game than the mainstream journalists. But I'm like, I'm reading the Harry Potter subreddit. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like every day it's just like, why did they do this? Why did they? But just like overall, I know just quick thoughts right now. Overall, I thought it was great. It hit so many of the notes that I was wanting it to hit.
Yeah.
And it's a game I'll never forget. You know, it will always have a place. I mean, I think it's easily the best Harry Potter game, easily the best Wizarding World game, in my opinion. So that's where I'm at.
Well said. Well said. Anybody else want to jump in?
I'll jump in. I also would rate it a 9 out of 10. So I have 3 characters going. I finished Proflinet. Too hard, too much completion. And the funny thing is that like as I was finding those last Revelio pages, because I'm trying to platinum the game, and I just have Gryffindor to get to the map chamber for that final trophy. I walked into this area and I was like, wait a second. How have I not Alohomora these like locks yet? Like I swear Hogwarts is a deep maze that I have not fully explored. The Highlands, I'm like, yes, let me that's where I spent all of my time pretty much is like Flue Flame, let's go find these little secret things, Nightmare Before Christmas Bridge, like all of the little things that are out there, which I knew I was going to be obsessed with as an open world game and just wanting to explore, wanting to jump off all of the highest things that I can, getting frustrated when I can't jump off of all the things, basically jumping off of a lot of things. That's kind of my vibe.
I don't want to be limited.
I don't want to be limited. That's the thing. And that was honestly my concern. I think that's probably why it's a 9 out of 10, is that there are certain things that I'm like, oh, like there's so much more that I could see. But for the game itself, it definitely exceeded what I was expecting, given that it could have just been something pushed out there with the Harry Potter IP, where it's just like, oh yeah, people will get it. People will like consume this. But I think that the reason, what comes through for me as a longtime Harry Potter fan is that it's clear that there are also longtime Harry Potter fans who worked on this game, and there's little things in there that you can just feel it. I don't know if this is true for people who don't care about Harry Potter, if you feel that like magic that is really packed in the game. But like environmentally, I think that they nailed it. Like everything about being in the environment of this game, it makes, even though I've dumped several hundreds, over 100 hours in this game, I'm I'm still playing more characters, and I'm like, yeah, I'm having the time of my life. So sorry, that was a long ramble of me gushing about the game, but yes, next
I
person.
almost started the music, but no, you're
Yeah,
good.
yeah. I was like,
we had to play the Oscar song.
the
like,
Oscars music.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
Like I wanted
it's
I wanted to get the scores and like
Yeah.
description before we dive in, but no, like you're hitting like all the notes that like honestly a lot of people have mentioned when it comes to this game, especially with the expectations. Some met and some not so much met, but in a variety of ways that a lot of people didn't expect. Like a lot of people were doubting the exploration, the open world, and even combat. I think that's the strength of this game. Whereas a lot of people were expecting story-wise to be its biggest part because it's a Harry RP. I think that might be where it might be weakest, in my opinion. So that being said, we'll get more into that. But Miranda, moving forward, what about you? Score, anything?
Well, first off, like before I get into this, I have a really serious question for you.
Okay.
Oh my.
Can you imagine how inconvenient travel was before she invented flu powder? Can you imagine? I could not imagine. Like there was no amount of imagining that could have been done.
It.
Anyway,
Oh my gosh.
I wasn't really like a pet peeve of. It ended up becoming one of like the greatest memes I think the game could have ever produced. That's not a complaint. That is just me poking 100% fun at the game. So I don't know. It's hard to give it like an overall average rating. I have like a couple points where so the story and the environment and the atmosphere, I would say you could give it a solid 9, maybe even a 9.5, because the story was really, really good. I thought it was genuinely like written pretty well. It wasn't until I actually finished the whole story and started to like wrap up loose ends and tried to get as close to 100%ing the challenges as I could. That's when certain like quality of life issues started to pop up where I was like, okay, I wish this was different. I wish they would have maybe approached this a little bit differently. Yeah. Like for example, this is like just one little example, and I'm not like a game dev. I don't know how any of this works. I don't know how the coding works. So I apologize if this like comes off unfair, but like one small thing that kind of annoyed me was when you're in the menu and you're switching between like gear versus quest versus map, when I would tab through that, the amount of time it would take me to go from like one end to the other just from doing that was like taking too long. So I would exit out and then I'd say screw it and just kind of use my cursor and just click on things. Except for doing the map. That's the only time I would use like the shortcut. Where like most other games I've played, when you're in a menu like that, you can pretty much tab pretty quickly. Like there's not too many seconds that go by before you have to load the new tab. And I was like, that's like just some of the things that I started to pick up on after the story was done. And then I could actually really focus on like the behind the scenes, like behind the curtain stuff. So I would say certain quality of life things, maybe like an 8, 7.5-ish. So like maybe overall average then would be like 8.5, 9 for the whole game. But like the story, top tier, amazing, loved every second of it.
Awesome. Kellen finishes us off. What do you got?
Yeah, so for me, I think I'm somewhere in the 8 to 9 range for sure. I'll put it this way. It's definitely in my top 5 games I've ever played.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I think that 8-9 range is definitely where it's at for me. I think there's some things that I would do a little bit different too to get it to a 10, but for me it was excellent. I enjoyed almost all the minutes I played, which are also over 100 hours of gameplay in it, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. So I'd probably give it an 8 or a 9 for me, but definitely with it made it to my top 5 games.
That's awesome.
Same.
I think that's correct me if I'm wrong. That's a lot of the scores I've been seeing with a lot of game reviewers who are not so much Harry Potter fans, but just gamers overall, anywhere between a solid 8 or 9 out of 10, which is like for Avalanche Software stepping into AAA gaming and this is their first step into it, like that is an amazing score from people who might be more harsh on this than we might be as fans. So I align with most of you guys here. I'm somewhere between that 9 or 8.5 because there's no Merlin. But no, it's honestly because of the strengths and surprising. Like, how is the room requirement one of my favorite features? Like, can I just throw that out
so
there? Like,
cozy.
how does that happen? I did not expect that when they introduced the feature overall back in the state of play, like a year ago. I'm like, okay, room requirement, you can do this. Okay, cool. It is so much fun. And then I started doing beast hunting and, well, shiny hunting, but I'm not like hunting beasts and taking them down. But you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Magazoo.
Beast rescuing, shiny rescuing. Yes. That was so much fun. And then you start getting into gear and stuff, but it's just chill. You can just go there, get away from the rustle and bustle of taking down enemy camps and Ranrock.
Do you know how proud Deke is of you, though? He's so proud of you.
All the potions.
He is
you
the hype
created.
man. Yep.
Yes.
I hadn't
Wish you
heard
could take him
lately.
with you.
Yeah.
It would blow my mind though. Every time the room got bigger, I'd be like, "You're kidding me! It's getting bigger again."
I know.
Yes.
James, I hadn't even.
I'm shocked that the right hand side didn't open up. I was surprised at the very end of the game.
The very end,
where
I was
opens
also
up even larger. But then I was shocked that they didn't have the right hand side open.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe that's for later.
I was gonna say that might be part of the DLC talk that we dive into. I definitely think that's part of it.
DLC.
What were you saying, Retro?
I was gonna say I hadn't even checked until you were talking about the score, because I was just like, I'm not gonna look at any review stuff going in. I just want this to be my take. I just now looked at Metacritic, and it's sitting at 84 with 94 critic reviews, and then user score is 8.8. Like that is. I mean, that's pretty much like across the board. That means fans and critics alike
are
even
enjoying
with all the
this.
noise beforehand.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That is incredible.
Exactly.
That's the first time I've looked at it.
Yeah.
I think they did a really good job of being able to balance like a really casual, chilled experience with grinding, which is like really hard to do in a lot of games that I've played, where sometimes if you have to like grind for gear and if you have to upgrade things all the time and go out and get resources to do so, sometimes it can feel like it can kind of feel like a slog. So the fact that they were able to like kind of make it interactive, where one of the features that at first I was like, oh man, really, was whenever you'd kind of go into places and you loot something and you get like a lower tier item and you're like, what am I going to do with this? But then you realize like there's essentially giving you currency. That keeps you, or that causes you to want to go back to Hogsmeade or your shop or back to your room of requirement and like kind of stop what you're doing, take a chill pill for a second, and then go explore, go talk to like the townsfolk, go see anything that you missed, instead of just constantly being out in the world grinding. There's like this point where you can't really do too much because your inventory's full, so you're forced to kind of go back into the towns, into your room, and just kind of chill for a little bit.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that made it so good for such a broad spectrum of people playing the game is they hit it really well for people who are just gamers, and this is the new game that's coming out, and like the battling was good, all of that, like that was really good. But they also hit the whole Harry Potter fans who wanted to have like the little like hits on the different lore of Harry Potter. And I think I remember, James, you and I talking after Wizards Unite Fan Fest at like the barbecue we went to afterwards, talking about that's something that we kind of wish Wizards Unite did a little bit better in terms of gameplay, while also hitting the storyline really well. Like they did a really good job hitting all the components of the game pretty spot on. And I think that's what's creating such a well received response for all types of people who are playing the game.
Yeah.
And that said. That is such a tough challenge too. I mean, the amount of people they were trying to please with this. It's like with a game like Elden Ring. From Software knows the type of gamer that's going to play that game. Red Dead, God of War. It's like they know the gamers are going after this. They're having to appeal to hardcore people who are into Elden Ring and Red Dead, and then people who are just like, I'm buying a PS5. I've never played a game in my life. And everything in between. And it seems to be like it's resonating with so many people. That's such a tough thing to do. So that's why I do have to kind of pull back sometimes, because when I'm like thinking about it as a gamer from the time I can, was old enough to hold a controller, like I have to remind myself, like, okay, they had to make some decisions to appeal to a wider audience than just the prototypical gamer. So
and speaking of trying something that's tough to do, Martin with the 20 gifted subbies, no, membies on YouTube. Memberships, expanding the Patronus Squad. Martin, I'm sorry I'm late to that. That's going to happen a lot, but thank you so much, man. Appreciate you. Patronus Squad coming in strong. If you just got a gifted membership, please show some love to Martin and gifts emotes in the chat. But that's okay. So let's just be honest here. For a lot of people who might not know, all of us had the opportunity to meet the devs who were behind this game. Even Chandler, all of us got to meet the people who worked on this game. And you can say there's a little bit of bias there because, we've gotten to know these people. And, like me personally, I can speak for myself. Like, I know the amount of work they've went into, especially from the first showcase up to them flying us out to LA, #sponsored. But like, it's so cool to see their work being so well received from the general audience. And that's something you touched on. Everybody has touched on here. It's just, there was a uphill battle of appeasing a lot of people and a lot of different gamers who aren't gamers, who are gamers, who are hardcore gamers, or who are just Harry Potter fans. And so I think they struck the right balance. And I think because of that, there's some stuff that kind of slipped through the cracks, which we'll talk about. But overall, yes, I could not agree more that they did something that a lot of people was not expecting them to be able to pull off. And that is to be applauded.
Yeah, I will say, for those who obviously didn't get to meet the developers, I think one thing that really stuck out to me, and I think it shows why the game is so good, is every person that at least I met that I talked to about the game, from QA individuals to, head of any department, any person I met that was working on the game, they were proud of the work. And I think that shows a lot. Each one of them was extremely proud before the game had ever come out. And I think that says a lot. When you're proud about when you create something, typically it's going to be a good product.
Yeah. All right. So that being said, being proud of the product, favorite feature. One. You can pick one. All right. I'm limiting you guys to one. All right. I know that you can say 20 others depending on how you feel, but I'm limiting you guys to one feature that you were just like, yo, and you can piggyback off of anybody else if they took your answer, is fine. But one feature that you were just like, I love this while playing Hogwarts Legacy. And let's start with Retro.
Oh, I knew you were going to go to me.
I was like, can you give an example? Who's going to start? I don't want to start.
I already said the rule requirement. For me.
Oh, you did. That
was the surprise.
That's the one. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd probably say the combat. Yeah. Like, it's still, even now, 100+ hours in, whatever, it's still so fun. And it's still fun to mix and match and try new things. Like my first playthrough, I didn't do any dark arts. Didn't learn like the Unforgivables at all. So now I'm going back through a second time, experimenting with all those. And it just opens up a whole new, on hard mode as well. But that one, like that was so important for them to nail, because it's such a, like, it's what sets the Wizarding world apart, right? It's not a gun. It's not a sword. It's not a staff. It's a wand, and you have to be able to attack from afar, and it has to be fast and fluid, and there has to be pairing and all. And like, I can even see, like, speaking of, we were talking about what we hope for in the future, or we're going to be talking about that. Like, I can see a vision of even more combat scenarios and more enemy types to open it up even more. I was watching you yesterday, James, finish off your playthrough, like that final boss, like that was such a unique experience. I mean, they kind of did that a little bit in other parts of the game, but I'm just like, oh man, if they could make 3 more bosses or 3 more just enemy types, taking this idea of using the different spells and having to break the shields and all that. Yeah. So yeah, I mean the combat, that's just like the thing that is so key to the moment to moment gameplay. I mean, you're doing it all the time. So you said only one, so I'll stop.
Yeah, no, and like piggybacking off of that, that was one of the big ones a lot of people were worried about.
Yeah,
and I loved Alan's description of long distance fencing. Like I love that as such a particular way of looking at dueling with your wand. And I'm just like, they did that when I'm looking at combat, whether it's Retro playing on hard or Lynette playing as Constance or, Miranda trying to, 100% it. Congratulations, by the way, just doing that yesterday. Like I see long distance combat or long distance fencing. And so, and speaking of Lynette, you got to talk to one of the cats who actually worked on the mechanics for combat. So
yeah, Troy Johnson. I was actually going to piggyback off of Retro because I am currently my Hufflepuff run is on hard. I actually turned Prof Lynette on hard near the end because I was like, I am too powerful. But even on hard at the very end, when you've done literally everything, it is like the time. Like sometimes I just seek out battles to be like, okay, how fast can I do this? Or what other things can I do? And so combat's going to be my general answer. However, what I love about combat is if I can pair it and just do a little add-on of like the talents. The talents. The talents for certain spells. Like, and how it's like in world where it's like, oh, I can transfigure an enemy into a barrel. Oh, but if you use this talent, you can make them an explosive barrel. And like that sort of stuff where it's just like, then you get to experiment with things. And then people in the chat are like, oh, I like to do this and then this, and people yell at me all the time. I will die before I use my tool wheel. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't look in the bottom left of my screen. I don't use plants. I don't use like potions. I only use Wiggenwelds, but it's fine. I still get through that way.
God, it wasn't just me. I'm sitting there like, I have all these mandrakes that I haven't used.
But it makes it fun because people have different approaches and like their favorites, right? And so it's fun to like learn something from somebody else who's doing it in a totally different way. Or if you're just straight evading everyone and making those cooldowns go faster, do what you want.
That's how I got
in the chat
into
too, James. He said he believed in them from the beginning. Troy Levitt, when we were saying, a lot of people were saying, shout out, Troy. Appreciate all the work you did.
Yeah, Troy. Yes. Everybody in chat, show some Slytherin hearts. Green hearts in the chat.
There we go. There's a Slytherin.
There.
We also got a super Teddy. Let me get Netflix in the chat. In my opinion, they have too many Merlin trials. Could do without. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about stuff they could have done right. But yeah. You're not alone in that thought process for sure. So thanks for the super chat. No, that's I'm the same way. I don't switch wheels. Like I don't. I refuse.
Oh yeah.
Spells.
No, I find that challenging.
It is.
That is.
And I remember Miranda said that first thing right after we played. It was like that's a bit of a challenge to switch between. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad they have them, but even now, 100+ hours in, I'm finding myself like, wait, where did I put that one again?
Where is that?
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. Just switch and hope there's something good on there.
Exactly. And then like I switch and it's like you said, Lynette, hoping it's something good. It is my roof requirement thing with my food and brush.
You do the disillusionment. You just go into stealth out of nowhere.
Oh no.
You're killing me. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Kellen, one feature that you're just like, bruh. This was amazing, and you can piggyback off combat.
Yeah, well, I agree with everything that's been said. Those are awesome choices, and I'm gonna try to go with something different.
Okay.
So I don't know if we consider this a feature, but the level of detail in the game is phenomenal. Like you go through Hogwarts, for example, and just simply like looking, like just simply being able to look and enjoy was definitely up there. But I will say one of my favorite maybe like game features is Summoner's Court, which
that was so much fun.
Yeah,
Yes!
I love that
I can't
so much. But I am so frustrated that you couldn't just go and replay.
Yeah,
Like that, because that was like one of my favorite things to do, and I would like look forward, like when the new task came up for Summoner's Court, I would get so excited. I was like, yes, I can play again.
Which one gave you the most trouble? Was it the last one or the one right before the last one?
4. I think it was.
Mine was also 4.
Yeah.
She is.
I switched it to story. I was like, I don't know if this is helping, but
because the last one is the one where you go. It's like they have the ramps up. I did really well on the ramped up one. I got a perfect score actually on that one.
That's against Ronan and that one.
The last one, I gasped. I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. Like that was a moment I had where I was like, oh, who's the last one gonna be? And he walks up and I'm like,
I don't know why I didn't think about that. That didn't even cross my mind that it would be him. I was like,
of
but
course.
then when it happened, I was like, obviously, this is so obvious.
Steve Kellen, though, I think you're totally right. Like, I feel like that's one of those easy things they could add in terms of. I made a video about like things I'd like to see, not like big DLC like ideas, but things that they could add, like quality of life updates, like what we were touching on a little bit already.
Yeah.
Even that would benefit PS4 players and such, because a lot of people want this to be a game, which they never said it was a game that you're going to be able to just spend forever in, which I think a lot of people are like, I played 80 hours. Now there's nothing to do. I'm like, you got your money's worth. I mean, they never said it was going to be that, but that's one of those little things that I think would keep people coming back. If you had that where you can go in and then maybe a DLC, you add like 5 new opponents, 5 new students. So sorry, Miranda,
they also did that. Yeah, and they did that with the flying, and I didn't understand why they couldn't do that with Summoner's Court. Like you can go fly a bajillion times.
Cross wands should have been the entire time.
Oh my god!
I should have been battling 7 years.
I agree with that.
Teachers or somebody.
Lucan. Can we battle Lucan? Can we do that?
I wanted to go up against the freaking headmaster because I just wanted to like put some dirt in his face a couple times. And I was just like, this dude sucks. Yeah.
Miranda, I made him jump off a ledge, if that makes you feel better. Well, it's actually not him, but it looks like him. So.
When you get to be him, I was like, oh man, I could sow some chaos right now if only we had more freedom with that.
But you, Miranda, feature. What did you got?
Oh man, there's so many features that I think that they didn't like. They kind of reinvented the wheel, and I think they did a really good job with it. But unicorns. That's it. No, I'm just kidding. I would say that was really cool. I was so stoked when you could tame one.
Yeah. Hey, nice way to sneak in multiple there. I
know, right?
Just playing. No, not
just
that
kidding.
Just
not that
one. I would say like the replayability of the game is probably the best feature because you could play all 4 houses, and then each house has I think at a certain point in the game there's like a different quest line.
The Jackdaw one,
Yes. And then I mean you guys touched on the combat, so like I don't think I need to go too much more into that because you guys nailed it. I don't really, could you call this a feature? But I thought Haunted Hogsmeade, what was the quest name?
Yes.
Like it was like
just call it Haunted Hogsmeade.
That was the single coolest quest I think I've ever done. I did not expect it to be as scary as it was, and there was a lot of moments.
Yeah. It was so different from
headphone warning.
Yeah.
Screaming on in the mic.
I will say I played half of it at night and I'm like, I'm gonna go to bed.
I was like, come on, this has been like a feel good, pretty family friendly game up until this point. Like, how scary could it be? And then there was the spider door, and I almost lost it.
Yes.
Well, they only need to get you one time, and then you're like on edge. Like, okay, it's coming. It's coming.
But they did such a good job with the camera angles, and then them popping back up when you go back to it. I was just like. I'm just like so looking at it technically. It was scary as crap. I do not do scary things. I do not understand why anyone would heighten their sense of fear by going to see scary movies or anything like that.
I'm actually the same.
As a technical feat, they that was amazing. And I had the privilege of talking to Alan when I was there back in last September. And I was like, yo, like, what's one of your favorite stuff you're looking forward to? And he was like, yo, one of my favorite quests was the Haunted Hogsmeade shop. And I'm looking at it, I was like, there's nothing that much to it. But I think from a technical standpoint, yeah, that was one of the best ones they've done. That one in the third trial, which we'll also talk about. But yeah.
Well, that one was also at the end of the quest. I was not expecting to fight that witch. Like, I'm sorry you want to try to kill me? Like, what's that? My joke is like, Officer Singer is worthless. I'm sorry.
Oh,
you're so bad at your job.
That's what I was going to say.
I guess I'll take her down.
Like, no worries, lady. I got it. This 15-year-old, I got it.
It was hard. I got stuck battling her. It took me a minute. I was also playing hard, and I wasn't prepared to like battle someone at that point, and I totally got stuck on that. But I love that it was a really cool tribute to just other genres of games, because there are people who just love that genre of game, and they just threw like a little slice in there for people. It was cool.
Going back to the appealing to a wider audience with that type of quest like that. Yeah, that's a great call, Kellen. Yeah, for sure. That I felt bad because the further I progressed in the game, I started carrying the gospel that is cabbages. And oh my gosh, I blew by the last like 2 trials. The Graphorn, I was finished in like 20 seconds just because of the cabbages. And that the Haunted Hogsmeade with the witch, I just threw a couple of cabbages and it was done. Like, I was just like, I maybe shouldn't have upgraded them yet. Like, maybe got more out of it, but no, it was an interesting one for sure. So yeah. Again, shout out to Avalanche. Like, yeah, that was such a great one. Moving on though, well, I feel like we need to talk about this Hogwarts. We need to talk about Hogwarts since we're talking about the features. We need to talk about Hogwarts, and Kellen talked about it. As a Harry Potter fan, what was that feeling? Now, we got to do it a little bit in LA for those of us who got to play early, but still, it's not the same as you being able to control it and you don't have QAs telling you to go this way or that way. Like, what was that experience as a Harry Potter fan? Because I think that is a valid point when you're rating this game, when you're considering your enjoyment of this game, the Harry Potter fandom and that effect it has on your emotions, on everything. So let's start with Miranda. Like, that feeling of just entering Hogwarts, you see George get eaten, you go through the bottom of Gringotts, you make it there. Now you're about to get your house selected, you wake up in your dorms, you're walking around. How was that for you?
Oh man, starting with the person that literally cries at everything and wears their emotions on their sleeve all the time. Well, I think for me, because like the castle itself meant so much to me as a kid growing up and like reading the books and watching the movies and being able to actually like see it come to life, because, and I harped on this a couple times during my playthrough, because this is the coolest part about video games. You know, books and movies are one thing, but they do kind of limit us in certain aspects. Like books, you really have to rely on your imagination. Movies, you're at the like the mercy of the director. Like the director kind of shows you what they want you to see, and you're kind of limited with that. So like in a movie, you can see the Shrieking Shack, but we go there maybe once, right? So we don't get the full picture. We just get one perspective on it.
Yeah.
Where gaming is so incredible because they give us the unique ability to actually see everything that we want to see and finally fill in those blank areas. Like for example, the one thing that really stood out to me was when we finally go to the headmaster's office and you get to see like Dumbledore's. Oh my God. Inside I was like, I could feel my brain getting fuzzy because I was really, really overwhelmed and just wow factor. But then they added so much more to it that I had never even considered, like his sleeping quarters. And then there was the little staircase going up to the very top room. I can't. There's like an actual page up there as well, but something I never thought that they were able to really expand on. And I was like, this is why games are cool, because they give us the opportunity to see things that we've never gotten to see before.
The immersion. Yeah, that is so spot on. Oh my gosh, that is so spot on. Good call. Let's go, Kellen. For you, Hogwarts. What was that experience like for you first time?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of mentioned it earlier, and for me, I was in awe. And I think for me, there was an initial like, wow, this is cool. Even having played in LA and then playing it again when the game was released for us. But I think for me, it was the fact that it happened over and over and over again, because it never stopped. And I think, like, for me, I was like, I'm not sure I've still seen every part of Hogwarts.
Right.
And that's what it was so cool, is I just kept playing, and I was like, I've been playing for a long time, and I keep finding these amazing places.
Yeah.
And that was extremely special, having, again, grown up with the books and listening to the audiobooks and watching all the movies. Being able to explore it on my own timeline was, I think, a really cool aspect. You know, like Miranda said, you're not at the mercy of a director or anything like that. You get to explore it in the way that you want to, and see what you want to see, and be where you want to be. So the level of detail that they had, and all the little, I think, bits of extra lore that they put in, really, I think, also enhanced Harry Potter as a franchise. Like, I think they contributed to it. They didn't just like show what other people had done. They have added to what Hogwarts is. And that's what I think I love about it as well, is it didn't just show an example. It's a whole another iteration of something to love about the Harry Potter universe.
Gracious. Yep. Well said. Well said. Retro, what you got?
Yeah, so whenever the first time I played, well, it was obviously in LA, and so we didn't that first like title sequence, we didn't see that, right? We just there were certain things we saw, but when I was sitting in my office playing that, when you first get that shot of Hogwarts, oh my gosh, dude, like the chills. I can't remember who Alan. It was in one of these mini interviews that Alan has done. It may have even been while you were there, Lynette. He talked about how they felt like they needed to earn that moment, right? They could have easily started you at Hogwarts and everybody would have been like, oh, yay, we're here. It's so fun. But no, they're like, no, we've got to set this up. We've got to earn this first. And so you have this fun little thing at Gringotts, and like you said, poor George and the dragon. Then when you finally get there, and then you wake up in the common room, like, it was just so like, I was like, I'm here. Yes. Yeah. And so when you have control of the camera, it's totally different feel. Like you all were just saying that, or Miranda was saying, when you're in the game, you can go over to that corner and look at something that a movie director is not going to focus on, but and that's like such a testament to video game artists. Like, I am just in awe of what these people are capable of doing, because it's like they have to plan for you to go like, you could go to any spot in that common room, look at any little piece on the wall.
They develop.
I mean, that's why it takes so many years, I guess. But, and it's also why I'm sad that we don't go to the common rooms more. But it's like, and there are a ton of areas like that. I'm sure there are some areas in this game that people will see only a handful of times, just because they're so far out. And that kind of gets to one of my critiques, is that I don't feel like there was enough. Well, sort of gets to what Miranda was talking about too, like with the gear and the rewards, that whole system. We can dive into that more later, but like there are certain caverns in this game, the little caves, and they all have a puzzle. But once you get 100% completion, there's no reason to go in any of those. And I'm like, so there are puzzles that these developers have designed that a lot of people are never going to bother with, because I mean, there's still some I haven't seen. I've 100% of the game though, and I have all the gear. I have everything, but there's still some of those I haven't seen. So I'm going off on like a lot of things with that, but the common room was great. Loved being in the common room.
Yeah.
Hogwarts, loved it. Lynette, I think you're next. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the ongoing joke for the Prof. Lynette run, which is my first playthrough, is that I did not explore Hogwarts at all. And I mentioned it before. So I feel like at this point, my post-game Prof. Lynette is just now getting familiar with Hogwarts. I feel I'm pretty proud of myself. There are certain areas of the castle that I can navigate without a map now. So I'm pretty proud about that.
Nice.
But I remember getting so frustrated being like, I don't know where anything is. I can't move this little Hogwarts map. I don't know, like flu flame me to exactly where I need to go. Like I was just like, let me do this so I can go to the next thing. And I don't know, I don't know what it was. I mean, this might be unpopular, but I'm like we're all adults, obviously, but I was thinking like, I'm a full adult. I'm just going to go. I don't need to go to class. I don't need to be in Hogwarts. I don't care about being a student at Hogwarts. And if it were a different time in my life, like a slightly younger me would be like, yes, let's do it. But at this point, I'm like, if you're telling me there's an open world, I'm going to go get into trouble out there. And so that's why I'm coming late to my looking at Hogwarts. So I just found the detention room and like the headless like room with the ghost dancing. I've seen screenshots of all these places, but I'm like, I have no idea where this is. And I just found it last night, actually. I was like, oh my God, this is so cool.
The Destiny room.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a Slytherin. So there's like, I went down there and I was like, wait, there's all this unexplored stuff that I haven't, like there's chests when I Revelio, there's locks to unlock. How is this even possible?
Yeah.
So there's like several favorite, obviously I love the Ravenclaw common room. I think it's just gorgeous to be in. I didn't really spend a lot of time. There's not really a reason to spend a lot of time in the common room, even though it's gorgeous. One of my favorite things was in the quest for the Revelio pages. And I think Miranda, maybe you mentioned this. There's one it's like up at the tower that's like the Quill of Acceptance and Book of Admittance.
Yeah.
I walked up there and I didn't do this live. It was just me by myself at my computer, and I audibly gasped because I was like, oh my God, like this is here. And I was just imagining, like Boston didn't make everything, but I just remember my conversations with her and how much joy and pride she had talking about her team and what they worked on, and like also being a longtime fan and being able to create something like that, like the inside of Hogwarts and all these things that are connected to a world that people grew up with. And so I was just thinking about like there is someone and people that made this room for the Quill. We have the animation where the Quill's trying to write stuff down, the book snaps shut, and I was just like, So like when Jeff got home from work, I was like, okay, so I went to this thing and I found the Book of Acceptance and Quill of Admittance, and he was like, oh, so you're the first since the founders. And I was like, well, I didn't touch it, but I don't think you can touch it in the game. But yeah, that was one of the moments for me where I was just like, it was an unexpected thing. Like, why should I care about that? But because it's like, it's just a piece. It's not something that's like a lot of fanfare. It's just a room that's up in a tower. But
it's not it has one of those things that's featured prominently anywhere.
But it has that meaning of like, oh man, like this is filling in the gaps of like what you don't see from like room to room. Like it's all connected, and you can go from section to section to section, and I don't know. It's just it's great. So post game, Lynette is enjoying Hogwarts, but when I was playing the game, I was like, who cares about Hogwarts?
No, that's it's funny because Sue was going. I was back at Hogwarts. I'm like, she's like, where are you at, James? She had already beaten it like weeks before I eventually did it, and she's just like, wait, there's a page right there. There's a field guide page. Wait, what? Have you done anything in Hogwarts? What are you doing? I was like, I've been entertaining the people. They want to see me do combat or die and have to eat a Bertie Bott's bean. Like that's anytime I play, it's live. So she's just like, you're frustrating me. I can't watch you play this game. Like, how have you not done anything in Hogwarts? So,
well, what Lynette touched on there, and I'm so far removed from the beginning, it's hard to remember this, but when I remember so many of us saying, like, we're going to just, as soon as I have control, I want to go explore.
Yeah.
And I almost think that's not the best way to play it, like to start out the game, because you're just like walking around everywhere.
Yeah.
Why don't I have a broom yet? And then you don't see anything in Hogwarts. And so when people ask me, and especially when people on last gen and Switch, when they play it here in a few weeks, months for Switch, unfortunately, but whenever they get to play it, like for anybody asking, I would recommend like you stick to the first few quests, because the game will actually take you. It'll take you out of the castle. You'll get to go to Hogsmeade, and it just keeps you from having to backtrack and do it again, because you kind of have to do it again if you just, because I feel like that's what so many of us did. We're like, oh, I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna run off and start exploring. And then you miss like so many things that they want you to see. Then they bring you back and make you see them anyway. But
they did a good job holding your hand and kind of walking through if you
follow
along
and you don't just go out.
Yep.
So my gear bag got full. Did any of y'all's gear bags get full before getting to Hogsmeade?
Yo, I leveled up. I feel like I got to level 20 just in Hogwarts.
Yeah,
getting
all
the pages and the treasure chest.
Oh my gosh.
And like it's cool because it rewards you for your exploration, for your curiosity. Like you're rewarded for that. And I was like, oh, I'm loving this. I keep finding stuff, but then I'm just like, bro, like only know 3 spells, and but like funny. Like what is this? Is this how it's supposed to go? So yeah.
That's
I was
funny.
like that for sure. So speaking of all of that, let's get into some of the stuff we didn't feel was a strength, or flat out didn't really enjoy as much as we hoped concerning Hogwarts Legacy. And I have a couple, but let's start with
you started.
You
haven't got to start.
I'll start it off. I hate that Merlin is relegated.
What?
I'm telling you, I that is a peeve of mine right now. He is relegated to gear. And I'm looking at it narratively, and I'm just like, okay, like you can nod to Merlin and stuff like that, but like, how has nobody else figured this out? Like, does it really require ancient magic or all this stuff? Like, I'm just like, it's Merlin, the most powerful wizard in wizarding lore. You have so many awards named after my boy, and he's just there to increase your gear. And plus, there's 95 some trials for it. Like, I felt like that was a forced way to elongate the playtime with that many trials, but also narratively speaking, all the stuff that we were getting from Percival story-wise, which we have to talk about, I feel like Merlin could have fit in right in. The keepers, I felt like the founders could have been right there because they built Hogwarts. Hogwarts is on ancient magic grounds. How do they not know about anything? How have we not heard anything passed down about fifth years or anything? Hogwarts is a stronghold of ancient magic. That is not by accident. That land is ancient. The people who built it are OP, the founders. So they know about ancient magic. Why aren't we exploring it with the founders? I feel like that is such a missed opportunity. So,
you forget about the Merlin trials, James. The very difficult Merlin trials that he would be proud of you too.
Yeah,
like the Slytherin scriptorium, I thought was a good. I thought they were going to go that direction, James, but then that of course ended up just being relegated to that one quest line. But imagine if we'd gotten a quest line like that for each of the founders where they each had their own little special thing that you discovered. It doesn't even have to be a place; it could be an item or the pensive that. You can tell any story you want. You got a pensive.
That is your get out of jail free card. I can do whatever I want with the story because of a pensive. And they did it with people we don't know and we haven't really attached to that much because they're just relegated to, yo, go over here. We don't trust you yet. Go do this other one. We don't trust you yet. Go over here. So like, we'll get more into the story, but
oh my gosh, here we go. I can feel we're getting into it now. I can feel.
But yeah, a lot of my beefs is narratively speaking, overall. But and I really wish the enemies were harder once you got leveled up. Maybe they can do like a game plus or whatever and add some additional stuff. But it really feels like once you maximize your potential in the room requirement with the loom and stuff, then it's just like I'm one-shotting these guys, and it's just like, okay. So I wish there was more difficulty there, but again, I can keep going. But let's go.
That's what we're here for.
Let's go, Kellen. Let's go, Kellen. What do you? Some of the stuff you feel like could have worked better, or you just flat out like, it wasn't.
Yeah. Well, I think. Well, this maybe it's just me. I think Lynette is going to agree with me, and there's a couple of things I could go on, but I think the most important. I'm going to go with the most important one to talk about.
Okay.
So, why were there 3 friend quests and not instead of 4? There was not a Ravenclaw friend quest line. That is so true. The bejeebies out of me. That is so messed up.
I had so much hope. I was like, no, Amit's the companion. Don't worry.
It's wrong. It is. I felt like totally snubbed as a Ravenclaw that they didn't have a main quest line for a Ravenclaw. Like that really upset me. And so I think that for me is probably one of the things that I was like, I got like halfway through the game and I'm like, you know what? There's not a quest line for Ravenclaw. This is not okay. And so I think for me, like that's a place I thought they missed majorly in terms of making it a little bit more even for all the different houses.
Yeah.
So I was pretty bummed that they didn't have something like that for Ravenclaw students.
You feel like maybe it was a meet, but it was cut. That's my prediction.
I think that's because that's why he's like, oh, I never want to do that again. Bye. Like, I think that's maybe there was something. Yeah, he does go with you. And then at a certain point, it's like, we don't have time for this. Like, we'll just close it here. I don't know.
Maybe.
That's what it felt like.
Wait. Was Samantha Dale's character, was she a Ravenclaw?
Yeah, but she's like on the other level, like the level below, where it's like, here's a quest, here's a story. There's a ranking.
There was a random beat feet thing that I thought was hilarious that I could not stop laughing about. So there's that. I mean, you had to solve this very, awful curse bestowed upon her brother, where he had beat feet. I mean, there was that.
I forgot about that too.
I forgot about that one. Going back to what you said, Kellen, though, I'll say I'm 95% positive they never had a Ravenclaw companion in mind at all. When they did the companion feature,
I'm sorry. What?
I'm telling because they switched.
Who do I need to talk
even
to?
The terminology.
Alan is a Ravenclaw. What are you talking about, Alan?
They switched to the classmates. The companion feature introduced back in the State of Play only featured Sebastian, Natty, and Poppy.
Yeah, that's why everyone was like, Henry Potter is a Ravenclaw. That's why they did it.
And so and even the companion feature, I read an article, I think it was either Screen Rant or Game something, whatever. They were talking about in the game code, somebody from Reddit went to the game code, and there was this companion feature was expansive, but it only had those 3 main characters. And I think they came off it sometime during development and switched it to classmates, which is when they introduced Amit the Car. And they started changing the terminology and everything. So I'm 95% sure there was no Ravenclaw companion in the first place, and the companion feature is completely different than what we got from what they initially wanted to do with it. That's my opinion.
Here's where it's where we probably don't have the inside knowledge of like the game development side, right? Like, you listen to devs like Naughty Dog, who are obviously very story centric. So it's like they start with the story and then sort of fill out the gameplay around that. Yeah. Or I know The Last of Us, like Bruce Straley and Neil Druckmann. Straley was like the gameplay guy, Druckmann was the story guy, and then they had to work very well in tandem to like make it happen. So I don't know which came first, right? Like, did they decide like, okay, we've got this quest line for this character, or we've got these gameplay things that we want to do, and then they fit the characters, or did they have like, oh, Sebastian, Ravenclaw? Because you got to think. I mean, I can't imagine that they were like, okay, we're gonna have 3,
just 3 of 4. There's 4, but who cares?
And in hindsight,
we don't get their official merch, right? So
I almost wonder, because remember how Sebastian's parents were professors and he was like very studious. I almost wondered if like, what if he had just been a Ravenclaw and Ominous was your Slytherin companion?
Ominous.
There you go.
There you go. That goes back to my early theory that from the reveal trailer, that one character who's running through the
I remember your videos about that. You were like, that's him. Everybody's like, no,
the one with the wand. I remember that as well. Yeah,
and he had a Ravenclaw on there. I'm telling you guys, man, I might not have got Merlin right, but yo, your boy was on to something. I'll tell you what. But that being said, Miranda, what about you? Things you felt like could have been stronger, or things you just flat out didn't enjoy as much? I know you touched on some of the stuff after playing the game and trying to complete it. So, any other stuff?
Any critiques that I have, like, just keep in mind, come from a place where I'm not a game dev. I don't know what goes into this, so I try to be fair because I don't understand that side. After I finished the story, there was just some quality of life things that I wasn't like a huge fan of, because I prioritize like time management and like feeling like something that I did wasn't really a waste of my time. I'm not gonna lie, after the main quest was over and I was trying to like wrap up a lot of the side quests, I realized how many of them were fetch quests, and I've never really been a massive fan of those in the past, because I tend to like, if you're gonna put a side quest in there, I would rather it be very fleshed out and kind of have like a story arc. Like, it's like a mini story arc within a larger story. I kind of want there to be a conflict, and then you kind of go through that, and then there's a conflict resolution. Then you feel like you've actually walked away with something more valuable in terms of gear, in terms of story, like morality, consequences, stuff like that. Where I do feel like there was just some random kind of surface level things thrown in there. But that's one thing. And then but mainly going back to the lack of like consequences and morality. I do think there should have been a way like way bigger emphasis on, like, if you choose to go the dark path and you learn the killing spell and everything, there should definitely be like a darker ending. There should have been more of a diverse ending to that. 100%.
One of my favorite games is Fable. I don't know if anyone's here played Fable. And one of the things I was really excited about Hogwarts Legacy, and I don't think they did a bad job, but to your point, Miranda, I wish that there was a little bit more Fable-esque character change, storyline change,
like you get scars on your face, and there's like actual physical things that happen.
I wish that was incorporated a little bit, at least a little bit more into the game. I would have liked that.
And your nose just slowly melts off. And you have no nose.
Fury up in here. Oh my god. But think back what Miranda was saying. We are not devs. We do not know the process. We do not know how much work goes into it, or even what they had to cut out due to time, money, or whatever. There's a lot of stuff that happens in the background, which is why we appreciate games as much as we do. But in all honesty, it is also okay to share what stuff you did not enjoy, because this can be used as constructive feedback moving forward for DLCs, for sequels, and anything else. So that being said, want to get that out there. Avalanche, don't sue me. Retro. Retro, what about you, man?
Yeah, I mean, I echo what Miranda said too. First of all, like, it comes from a place of love, because I know we have developers, maybe even in the chat right now, who watch, and so like, I'm not a developer. I don't know how that side of it works, but even as a Potter fan, like, following it throughout the whole, I'm sure, I know we all kind of came into the Potter fandom at different points, but if you guys had read the books before you watched the movies, remember some of the most critical people of the movies are the people that love the books first.
Right.
And have so like, I'm getting excited because I see so much opportunity for the future on it when they make more of these games, and there's gonna be more people.
There will be. Yes.
There will be more. So I'm not getting excited to talk about negative things. I don't want people to get the wrong idea.
Yeah.
But I totally agree on the morality and the choices. Completely agree with Miranda. I thought that was a big, because I mean, I think in part the marketing leading up to the game. And like you said, James, maybe there was a time where they had more of that in there. And then through the development process had to kind of scale it back because I mean, it was pretty close to launch when they finally said, guys, there's no morality system.
Yes,
where
it
they
was. And the FAQ
broke that to us.
Yep.
And so, I mean, everybody was trying to be like, is it Mass Effect? Is it Witcher? Is it going to be somewhere? I don't know where it falls, but I mean, it was like, it wasn't anywhere close to doing what either of those games did, but I really felt like it needed that because it made some of the, we haven't talked much about the Sebastian quest line yet, but that one is by far the one that has
need to talk about
the biggest emotional impact. And I think not having consequences for you, the main player, hurts that quest if you're playing Dark Arts.
Yes.
Because I've had so many people in YouTube comments be like, okay, if it wasn't clear, guys, we're spoiling. We're going full spoilers here. When you decide whether you're turning him in or not.
Yeah.
Like if you've been casting AK left and right, of course it's gonna be like, I can't turn this.
I'm doing it.
I've been murdered like this.
Yeah.
And I mean, technically, I guess we all have because the bodies just disappear even when you Petrificus Totalis.
Right. No evidence.
Are they
going to charge you?
So I think that's a really big thing to where it negatively affects that because it doesn't have the same emotional weight to it. Now, like me, I played as I didn't use the Unforgivable, so I'm like sending you Azkaban, dude. What are you talking about?
So you were consistent, not a hypocrite.
But even me, I killed all these other dark wizards. You didn't really have, and I don't know how you do that in a game. Like it's like the Nathan Drake thing. He's like this action hero, and he's slaughtered all these dudes along the way. I don't know how you pull that off in a video game, but I remember when we were playing the game early. We didn't know yet, like, how that was going to play out. And, like, so I was going to be like, okay, I'm going to go stealth. I'm not going to kill any of these guys here. Yeah. And the very first thing I do, I walk up behind Petrificus, that guy, and he just falls off the cliff. I told the guy that was helping me from Avalanche, I was like, no.
I feel so bad.
I don't want to kill anybody. I don't want to play the Dark Arts. And he just kind of had this odd chuckle, like, well,
it's gonna be
sorry. You're killing a lot of them in this. So
that box
I'm not gonna go that far and say you can't kill any wizard, but I do feel like there needed to be some morality. Choices needed to matter in more than just Sebastian's quest. Even the final choice, like the big choice, like barely made any difference.
It didn't matter.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. No, for sure. And I mean, that's such a good, let's use that with the morality, the ending. How did you guys feel about the ending?
I didn't say my pet peeve.
I'm sorry. Lynette,
okay, the one that I actually shared with all of you before stream is a pet peeve of mine, but only because I need to be the most chaotic player of all time. Is there are these half walls, right? So you can't jump on top of every single ledge. I can't jump off of things. I'm spoiled by Breath of the Wild because I make Link climb everything. But the other thing, like along these lines of talking about choices and story, it's actually very shocking that I said combat was my favorite part of the game. It is not typical for me. So it speaks a lot to the combat, and I was also really hoping that the story would live up to my obsession with stories in games, and and it was good. But I agree, Retro, you said it. Like I can't curse on this channel, but the Sebastian quest messed me up. It messed me up so bad. I spent, I don't know how long I actually spent live on stream trying to decide what to do, because there's the thing that you initially say, which I was being a hypocrite, and I was like, yeah, we should turn him in. And Ominous is like, are you sure? Because we'll never see him again. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And honestly, that decision, it still, like, this is why Sebastian lives rent free in my head. Not only like the quest of like what we went through with him, but like the relationship developed in a very, like, it was like a real connecting way, more so than like the main quest of the game for me. And so at the end, and even in playing through on the second and third playthrough, I am making slightly different choices in the Sebastian quest, so I am seeing different things. I did not know that for Imperio, that you can actually Imperio Ominous. Like, that was something. I don't know if y'all know that. Sorry if I'm spoiling it for any of you, but like there's like certain things. I know it's like spoiler fruit for it, but I wouldn't have seen that if it weren't for my Bellatrix playthrough, where I'm like straight up evil. Like I don't care about anyone. So I'm enjoying finding those multiple things, but the more that I play it, like the story again and again, there's only so many options, right? So you're going to exhaust all the combinations. And the more that my ideation starts going of like, oh, you know what would be cool is if like at a certain point, like when you get to the point of the Avada, learning Avada, that you could make a different choice. You could go to Ominous and be like, hey, Sebastian's like doing stuff, we got to stop him. And then you made a choice of like, I'm going to align with Ominous, or I'm going to align with Sebastian. And you had a different kind of conflict play out where you were dueling not Solomon, which I mean, that whole thing.
Yeah.
That whole thing was a lot, but
why
you know,
didn't they
there's
let
other
us
things.
Make that choice right before that? Solomon, terrible uncle. Bruh. I don't think any of us would disagree with that.
Yeah.
But what if you'd had the choice to be like, no, Sebastian, what you're doing is wrong.
Stop him.
You fight with Solomon, and then it plays out almost the exact same way. He could still AK him at the end of it.
Yep.
So yeah, I thought that was weird because I was like, you're a jerk, but I don't want to be fighting you right now.
You're a jerk, but
yeah. So just more of that like the emotional tethers into the story arcs of things that aren't the main quest, which to me, the main quest was fine. I absolutely love, I think that for me, the theme of Harry Potter stories is like, we're thinking about death. And coping with death. The theme for this for me, and I don't know if it's because of what's on my mind recently, but it's about pain and like how you deal with not death, but like living with pain, however that plays out with like Isadora, with Sebastian and Anne. Like there's these like parallels that I'm just like, I love it, but I also, I don't know, maybe it's just me being selfish of like,
no,
I want that. I want that throughout. Like I don't want just like, okay, this is the thing. I want it permeated throughout when I think about this.
Couldn't agree more. It was like they took Sebastian's quest and like, that's where we're going to take all our chances. And then everything else, it was very safe. Like it was a okay story. You know, there were some interesting parts of it, but Sebastian's quest line is where they really swung for the fences of like, okay, let's try to do something really bold here.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part I was upset about, because you see that potential with the Sebastian quest line. Yeah. And you're just like, why couldn't that be us? Like, if you're talking about pain, dealing with pain, I was like, bro, like, I still don't know where I'm from. How am I like able to do ancient magic? And we're pressed into this. We're going to talk about that right now. But
here we go.
But I'm just like, yo, on the thing of pain, like, I'm just told Ranrock is bad. I see him kill a fellow goblin and the Green Gots, but then I'm just like, yo, do I really want to stop Ranrock? Because like, yo, like this is pain right here. Like I want to just take that for myself and heal people from pain, because maybe my parents died and I'm dealing with that. And Fig is the only person, and then he dies at the end or whatnot. And I'm just like, maybe I want to get rid of pain also because it's tough right now. I'm just going through a lot. I'm killing folks and stuff, like I just feel like it could have been us, because that's the strength of Harry Potter. Like, you weren't just thrown in. Harry wasn't just thrown into it just because the story required it. Yes, it did, but there's a personal connection between him and Voldemort. Voldemort killed his peeps. Even with Sirius in Prisoner of Azkaban, you're just like, Harry's like, yo, this cat like betrayed my peeps, man. Like, I'm about to take this dude out. Like, I got to learn Patronus. Like, I got to see what I can learn. And then you find out it's not. But like, Harry is connected to the overarching story because of what happened with his origin. And I feel like they should have done that with our character. So that being said, our origin, the lack thereof. How did you guys feel about that? Let's start with Kellen.
For me, I wasn't surprised that there wasn't much origin, because I think that they were trying to allow you to fill in your personal origin as the character. So I think I think that was their purpose, is like, we want this character to literally be you. So let's not say what your origin actually is, so that the individual person can have the origin be them.
Role playing a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Like a role play. So I think they left that to imagination for that reason, which I liked, because I could go into Hogwarts and be like I'm in Hogwarts now. This is me in my character. Like, I am this person. And I think that allowed you to kind of contribute to the game in, I think, a really positive manner, versus having something where you are obviously someone else going through the story.
Right.
So for me, I liked the fact that there was not an origin to the character.
Okay. Retro, what about you?
I think you're definitely right. I think that's what they were going for. It didn't work for me, though. It didn't work for me. I wish you would have had, and see, I think there's a way to do that, but still have a story, like a reason to care about. Like, I can make it up. I can come up with a backstory, but it's like, why do I care about all this stuff going on? Like, we don't even know.
Why are you
like,
invested?
Yeah, we don't even know how he found us. Like, we're sitting there in the carriage, and he's like, "Oh, you can read you could see ancient magic."
But then before, he's like, "Yo, did you practice the spells I told you to practice on?"
But he acts like he's never talked to us before.
What? So I needed like a little bit more, and I'll give you an example. If any of you have ever played Knights of the Old Republic, I feel like that. Have any of you played it here?
Yes.
A little bit, yep.
Yes.
A little bit. Okay, well, I don't want to spoil it. I mean, because there is a remake coming out, but it has one of the greatest twist endings of any video game ever. I mean, even aside from Star Wars, like it is set in the Star Wars universe, but it has such an incredible ending. You start the game, you don't know why your character's like lost his memory. Like, he doesn't remember who he is or she. I think you can play male or female in that game. So you don't know why or like how you got here, basically. And so it's about you piecing that together throughout the game. And then the big reveal at the end is just like, oh my gosh, no way. And so I feel like they could have done something like that with this, but it's just like, oh, we're just some guy or some gal that was along for the ride.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think they wanted it to be like, this is you having your own adventure, but I wanted a little bit more in terms of the lore.
Like you said, Retro, I think having that little bit of extra, and Dustin, thanks for the Super Teddy Snifflers in the chat, because he was talking about ways of adding it with like little small backstories like in Mass Effect, with a few dialogue here and there throughout. And I would have been okay with that.
At the beginning.
Yeah. It would have been cool talking to people, and they're like, "What's your name?" You're like, "Oh man, I remember your," and then you're just like getting little bits and pieces of that puzzle that they can. I mean, let's be honest, they can fully explore our backstory in a sequel. Like, they can fully do that if they wanted to. So they didn't really have to do that here. And Kellen, I think you're 100% correct. That is literally what the reason they left it open-ended. It was so we can role play and not be stronghold into a specific backstory, and it allows people hopefully to be as immersive as their character as they possibly could with the lack thereof. And I get that, but just from a storytelling standpoint, because games as of late, I know Miranda, you're playing Ghost of Tsushima. The storytelling has been a strength of a lot of games as of late right now.
Yes.
Heck, one of the games, Last of Us, is a TV show because of the strength of the story. And so I'm thinking, me personally, with a Harry Potter IP, you have to nail that. That is like a big thing. They nailed Hogwarts. They nailed the environment. But the story is why I'm invested in this IP in the very first place. And so not having that connection to our backstory driving us as to making our decisions, because hey, my parents were killed by whatever, a goblin or something else or whatever.
Do we have parents?
Yeah, we
just materialized.
We were just spawned.
Yeah,
that was it.
Ancient magic birthed us, like in Star Wars.
But
like, I think having that connection to the backstory then adds to our decision making throughout the story.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And so,
like, imagine if we had a story similar to Isadora, where we have a loved one, and then you got to make that choice at the end. Like,
because then you're like, what would I do? You know, like, and then it just it like that's where all the emotion comes from. 100%.
Yeah, I get that.
So well, I went on a tangent, but who hasn't gone? Miranda. What about you? With the origin, you're cool with it or whatever? Like,
I think, so like from the couple different perspectives that I heard, like I do agree that it depends on how you played it. I think for me, the way the or lack of origin story worked for me, because and it actually, I had like a light bulb moment when I was playing the game, and then I would kind of go through and read some comments. Like, a lot of people were commenting that they really enjoyed like the role playing and like the getting into the character from like where I'm at in the present moment, not really considering the backstory. So that gave me a lot of personal freedom to really become my character and not be limited and tied down by this backstory that I had. I mean, for me, it could have been solved by simply saying something like our character had somebody go all Hermione on them and, obliviate, so we actually don't have a memory of what happened before meeting Professor Fig and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But I think for me, like going with what Kellen said, is I enjoyed the role-playing aspect of it, which is something I never really dabbled too much in before, but it kind of just naturally happened, and it worked. Like, it really worked, and it was really fun being able to make my character look as close to me as possible, and putting myself in that character and kind of using or picking dialogue and treating others the way I would if I was, actually in the wizarding world. So, but I understand, the whole emotional aspect of not having the backstory and not having something to attach yourself to. And then leading up to the fact that there's also no moral compass in the game. Like, there's no consequences to your actions. So it's like, could we have had that and then have had no moral, like, real dichotomy at the end, So it's interesting. It's kind of a weird one. It depends on the perspective that you take on it.
No, that's a good point.
The Witcher 3 had 36 different endings.
Oh my gosh.
And I can't even imagine how long it took to make that game.
And I think that's why it's hard to be hard on the developers for not putting a morality aspect in, because it is so much work to do that, and I totally understand that. So, I mean, think about, you have to develop a game with one ending and then doing that 36 times or whatever it ends up being. I mean, and then doing that throughout the whole process of how characters are responding to you, et cetera, et cetera. I can imagine it's so much work. So it is definitely, I know we've said this a bunch, it is not a critique to the developers in any way.
With all things being said about the game, like, even given everything, like, I don't really think there's such a thing as a negative experience. Everything is a learning experience. And I think what the game did really well, what the developers did super well, is they laid a fantastic foundation for the future. Like, and they've been so
100%.
responsive to, like, all of our critiques as we've been playing the game, and like certain bugs that we found. And they have been so communicative with the community. I think going forward, like, I have really high hopes if they ever have any future with the game as like a series or like DLC or anything like that there is so much that they could do going forward, just given the foundation that they've laid with this game already. And if they take any of our points like very seriously with adding a morality system going forward, like the RPG that it could become in later iterations, it gets me excited just to think about it.
Yeah.
Did we lose our host?
Yeah,
we lost James.
I'll say my thing and hope that he comes back. So I thought that the mystery of the game was gonna be who are we, you know? And so Retro, like when you were talking, I was like, yeah, that's what I thought was gonna be unfolding throughout the game. So I've never played Knights of the Old Republic, but in Breath of the Wild, Link wakes up and there's like memories that he has to acquire to like figure out like what's happening. And so I thought that we would have pieces, like whether it's through pensives or whether it's because we get introduced to someone or whether because the power of ancient magic somehow sparks their memory. I don't know. But like throughout the game, that's what I thought. And then as soon as I found out that no, we're not going to get any of that, then I just kind of was like, all right, well, let it go. Just do whatever is happening. Because I still liked the way that they did use pensives. I still liked how, there were some more fleshed out classmates that we could interact with. Sebastian was by far the best, though I do think that there was a moment with Poppy that I was like, oh my gosh, your parents are poachers?
Her
what?
twist was awesome.
I was not expecting that with Poppy, and it made sense because I critiqued Poppy hard, not for the at the beginning before the game came out, not because of the evil Poppy memes, but because I was like, why is your character card so boring? Well, because they couldn't tell us the thing that was like really important to her backstory. Yes. And the reason that I thought that the game would be framed as a mystery in the storytelling is because Harry Potter, like the stories that are told in Harry Potter, there are mystery arcs in each book. And then there's the bigger one. Is Snape good or bad? And then you find that out and you're like, wait a second, rewind. And I was thinking as y'all were talking, like, what is the thing in this? Is there a thing in this story? Is it that Lodgok is Ranrock's brother? Is that the thing that's like, oh wait, what is the thing? I don't know.
I remember
what
when
the
I
thing
had
is.
you guys on before the game,
You know?
I think I asked, do you think there will be, and all of us were like, oh yeah, 100% there's going to be some sort of twist.
A twist, right.
With a big character.
Yeah.
I don't
But
know if
I didn't really see that
something
either.
comes to my mind.
Yeah.
By
I
the way,
remember
just
being
for
sad for him.
James did post, he said they had a power outage, so I think he's trying to get back on. I told him we'll keep it rolling.
Yeah, we'll keep it rolling. We'll keep it rolling.
There he is.
Am I here?
It's storming at my house too. So
okay,
you guys.
Apologies. This might not be the only time it happens, but thankful with StreamYard, it just keeps going because it's in browser. So we're good.
I double checked. I was like, wait, are we still live on?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
We're good. Yeah, so we're good. That's why I also did it because I knew the weather was going to be like this. So if you see me pop out, just think of me like checking on the kids or something. And it's nothing technical. So.
But Lynette, the other thing I was going to ask when James was talking about Ranrock is, did all of you do the side quest where I think it's one of the characters makes a comment about Ranrock's past?
Yes. Yep. I know exactly which one you're talking about.
That should have been that should have been a core part of the story. Go for it, Miranda. I can tell you. Because that added so much to his character.
Yeah,
it really did. And I love perspective. I love when things are more than just two-dimensional surface level. Like, there's actually a reason. They're just not just a bad character just for the sake of being bad. Yeah. And I remember when I was playing that part, I was like, oh my gosh, everything makes sense. Why he's doing this, why he's so angry, why he hates like all wizards and all this other stuff. So I was like, I think all I said was like, now it makes sense, and I kind of feel for him now. Like you were able to establish that empathy for him, and I do wish that they would have kind of.
Wait, so that was a side quest? I know what you're talking.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
A side quest where you had to go. I think
because I did it.
Somebody's uncle, and he was trapped.
Oh yeah, what's her face?
What's her face?
The Hufflepuff girl.
If anybody in the chat didn't play this one, there's a side quest where they make a comment that Ranrock, he took a wizard that he was working for, dropped their wand,
Yeah,
and he picked up the wand to like give it back to him.
Yeah,
and they ended up beating him over, like went crazy on him.
Yeah, real messed up.
Yeah.
So it's like that was so much perspective.
Exactly.
Right.
Like little stuff like that. I'm just like, give me more.
Which part of me like. I know I just said that I think it should have been in the main story, but then there's another part of it's like it's kind of cool that you had to like do everything to get but something that big. I'm like, that should have been in the main story. Then there could have been other things you pick up on through the side stuff.
Yeah.
But one more thing I'll throw out there, Miranda touched on it a little bit, is the gear. I feel like I feel like all this ties in, like James talking about the traits, Miranda talking about the gear. And then also we were talking about the difficulty, how we all felt like it could have been a little bit harder. It's like they built a lot of great systems. Like I love the traits. I love the loom. I love I thought I was going to be able to grind that stuff and like spec out my character.
Yeah.
And you can, but the problem is you never need to. You just get to a point. It's like, oh, I don't need to do any of this. Like I was looking forward to being like, okay, there's this section of the map where Incendio is the spell that you gotta have here, or Defendo. So I'm gonna need to go back and change my gear.
I thought I was gonna do that too.
Accomplish this specific area.
The different protections or whatever.
All the protections. That's right.
Yeah.
And so I think they had a lot of like great ideas for this really cool system, but then it just through the gameplay, it didn't always hit how I wanted to. And then like all of the going through this whole cave and solving these big puzzles, it's like, oh, it's a downgraded piece of gear that I
a blue, with the little red arrow pointing down.
This is where I'm totally like on the sidelines. I don't know the solution because like in a game like Elden Ring, it's like you may spend an hour in this cave, but you may come out with a weapon that you can't get anywhere else. Like you have to go to that cave to get that weapon because you have like swords and staffs and axes and so I don't know. I don't know the solution, but I wish there would be more reward for going through and finding all these items because there's so many cool little puzzles and all these caverns, but then you just do it and it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, for me,
it was really interesting. Go ahead.
For me, it was really interesting with the traits is I didn't do any traits until I got the ability to collect all of the items that I needed. So until I got the grab horn,
so I don't know which one I'm gonna want.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I'm just gonna wait until I can get whatever one I want, and then I'll do it. And after I did, I was like, there was a major change. Like the traits abilities are significant, and I didn't realize how significant the traits were until that point because I basically waited to the end. And I was like, I went from okay, this is a little challenging to okay, I am just blowing everyone out because this is not hard at all. And I thought that was really interesting in terms of the gear slots. And I kind of wish I would have spent a little bit more time on that earlier on the game. But at the same time, I also think if I spent time on it earlier in the game, it would have been also really easy playing on hard.
Right.
So,
Then it would have made it even easier.
Yeah.
Did anyone else just like what I did was when I realized you could do like the level 3 like Defendo or what's the other one? Bombarda. I just put level 3 Defendo on like every piece of gear. So I'm just instant slicing and dicing everyone.
Oh yeah.
You were able to so easily make yourself OP to everything. And it was so like that you could easily imbalance yourself and make yourself way more powerful than any enemy you're gonna come across.
Like I'm doing because I did the same thing with the herbology runes. That I applied with all my gear. So like shout out to Sapphire Valkyrie. We figured out because there's runes for specific plant weapons you have, and then there's one that's overall. So that's the Herbology 3 once you max that out. We found out that just do Herbology 3 for everything instead of doing the Fangs, which is the Chomping Cabbage specific upgrade. And what I noticed was I'm doing 13,000 damage with one Chomping Cabbage.
Oh my god.
Then the other one is finishing off with like 5 or between 5 and 7,000 on a troll. Level 30 troll.
Yeah, I
just
saw
2 cabbages just jump up and just boom, that's it. And I'm just like, I haven't even done anything with spells. Like I can't even imagine what it would be like if I just fully upgraded my spells. Like it's so crazy. So that's why I touched on earlier. Like I wish the difficulty with the enemies went up. Like the final boss was tough for me. Like I died like once or twice yesterday when I finished the game, and I played it on hard. But I couldn't use my cabbages. If I used my cabbages, it'd be a wrap. You know what I'm saying? So I wish it would go up because the traits are such a fun thing to explore and try out and see like how tough you are. And same with this gear stuff with the potions and plants and even the spells. Like you want to test it out, but if you're Ocoin cats while you're testing it out, you can't really get a good read on it now because you don't know what you have gone up in, whether it's your spells or your plants or even your defenses. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll get like a Game Plus situation. God of War just got it. I think like today, God of War Ragnarok just got it. So they got like some new gear and new bosses, which I'm very interested in trying. So I hope we get that either in a DLC or something else entirely for free. But
yeah, it's like they have the system in place.
Yeah,
like I think we all agree, like the traits and stuff. That's all really fun, but you just don't need any of it.
And that's the thing; it's the blueprint, and that's what's so exciting. The potential is huge.
Yes,
it is so huge because they're knocking it out of the park with so many features. And we touched on it earlier. Like, there's a lot of stuff that gravitates to certain type of gamers. And they're nailing it. And so I was like, if this is their first step into, you know, a AAA type world gaming with a Harry Potter IP, I was like, yo, this is a great foundation and blueprint for them to build upon. So that being said, what would that look like, whether in a DLC or in a sequel? Who wants to take this first?
I mean, there are parts of the map that you know, we could explore if you just let me go in there, right? If you just let me go past this boundary, like I'll hang out and do more things. I've said this. Well, I don't know. Y'all mentioned like the broom races. I avoid anything to do with like trying to be good with the broomstick. I can't do it. It's impossible for me. So I'm saying this because I know that Quidditch DLC is like super popularly requested. I don't care about it. I can't do it. Can you imagine me? Actually, it might be funny. Maybe we should welcome it so that we can do some sort of thing where you just laugh at Prof and be like, oh, look at her go. I mean, I'm personally like, so talking a lot about story, if you give me stuff with some really cool, like, I don't know, something that is more mysterious. I'm not trying to be shady. It's just like one of the reasons, especially with like shameless plug for Magical Theory Podcast, rereading the Harry Potter series one chapter at a time. And I mean, I've read these books before. I know what happens. But it's like one of those things where you like it because it's so good. Like, you know, like what's going to come next, or you're reading something and you're like, oh, hey, here's a little hint for something that's going to come through in like 2 books later. Yeah. Like, I just love mystery like in general. So I love watching movies that have a good mystery in it. I wouldn't mind more content where I can interact with the NPCs in a more meaningful way, whether that's like very story-based and intricate and mysterious, or if it's like, just come with me so you can help me jump off this cliff. Like, that's all that I want.
That's a big one.
Be my best friend, Sebastian.
Apparently people have found, I think I heard you talking about this, James, like, is that confirmed that people have found where it was a cut system that there was way more to the companions?
At least that's what I read. I can share the article. I have it saved in my inbox on Twitter, so I can share it with you guys if you would like to see that.
There's going to be a free Ravenclaw quest DLC.
Oh my god, I would buy extra copies just to give those away. Like, everyone needs a Ravenclaw companion, a Ravenclaw bestie.
I would need that for sure, just to see how it would be, because currently Sue is playing a Ravenclaw, doing a Ravenclaw playthrough but as a Weasley, which is hilarious. So,
Awesome.
she's having fun with that and trying to like see what that would be like. But she's like, yo, I need a companion. Like, we need a Ravenclaw companion. So, or a classmate. I'm sorry to do it. This classmate is the correct term nowadays.
Well, also, I don't know. So I don't know who y'all chose for your companions in Skyrim. I will never live down flaming Lydia and killing her.
Yeah.
I made her my pack mule, and then it's not my fault. She got in the way and just died. So rip Lydia. We will always remember you. I'm just imagining like that would absolutely happen to me. I think it's fun. I don't think that, I think chaos is fun. It's fine. It's fine if you die. It's fine if other people die along your way.
Yo, let me find out Lynette is actually a Slytherin. Oh my god!
Yeah.
I know. I'm
Steamrolling
teasing
everyone.
you for being a Slytherin, and I'm like, no,
It's actually you. Oh my god!
it's actually me.
Oh, he fell off the cliff. Ha ha ha.
I
Too bad
Let me
you don't have
post this
a
clip.
Like,
Let me tell everyone about it. Yeah.
I will say though, what was really cool was jumping off of things and then being able to like immediately get on your broom. I just thought that was really. I did that all the time.
Yeah.
That was as far as I got to like jumping off of anything. I was like, I got a broom. We're fine.
Like, what
There
are
were
you
a couple
doing?
times I missed it though. Like
Yeah.
Wait, would say you cannot get on your broom here. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I
Are you
can, and if you don't let me soon, I'm gonna
Speaking
die.
of brooms, though, I saw this hilarious tweet where they were like, I feel so bad for the designer of whoever did the magic ancient magic hotspots because all of us are just cheesing it with a broom, and I'm sitting there like, that was me. I'm so sorry.
I did that.
Like you could see the intricate like puzzle that they
You
built.
want me to Leviosa
and then
this
you just-
box? No,
I'm like, I'm like, no, I
And the
cannot be
Merlin
bothered.
trial too. You can just fly
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
that never
Yeah.
worked for me, actually.
Really?
It worked for so many people kept yelling at me, and I was like, listen, I will show it to you. It didn't work for me for some reason.
What?
There was one.
I had
there
to
was one Merlin
parkour.
trial- Yeah, there was one Merlin trial that was really tough for me because I would do it on my broom, and then there was one that was not working on the broom, and it's
Yes.
the
Maybe they
one where you
fixed
gotta
it.
jump on them, and it's in a little like kind of like a square, and they're all really small, like they're all like just little small.
Oh, I
had
know.
to
Yes,
jump
I know
to
which
each
one you're
one.
talking
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
so
yeah.
hard to do, and it wouldn't let me do it with the broom.
Oh my
Miranda, what about you? DLC, sequel, future?
Um.
What would
Oh,
you
I
like
want it
to
all. I
see?
mean, I'll take whatever they'll throw at me. I mean, I could live
I'll
in this
take it.
world forever. I just think going forward, I'm always a big person on quality over quantity. I would rather like I just got done playing Miles Morales, which was fantastic, even though it was very short.
Yeah.
You don't need a giant like world and all these things and just chock full with stuff to make something entertaining. I would say as long as any game really going forward focuses on story and then kind of builds everything else around that, I think everything will just come together. They're like we said before, though, they have laid such a good skeleton and a foundation for the game. The possibilities are endless with what they could do.
Mhm.
And I know we're all like pretty much open to anything, so it's I just love I love a good story. That's why I got into this universe in the first place, was the emotion behind it, the implications, and being able to see yourself in a character, which I do think that they nailed that really well with the role playing and doing that. But yeah, just story.
Yeah. What about you, Calvin?
You said the Ravenclaw,
Yeah,
right?
I think the Ravenclaw story. Yeah,
Okay.
I definitely think that is it. But to talk about the Quidditch point, I think that is something a lot of people want. But I do agree that it's a really hard ask, I think, to do Quidditch well and to make fun and to be able to play between doing the different positions and stuff like that. I'd love to see them do that, but I think it's going to be really hard to get a really thought out play style for that in a workable way.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
So that, I think also the DLC we talked a little bit about earlier in terms of the Summoner's Court, like that needs to be a DLC, something there.
Multiplayer.
Yeah, multiplayer.
I would totally verse real people in Summoner's Court.
Yeah, totally.
Gobstones
There's
with
a lot that
Zenobia.
could be there.
That's
Yeah.
going to be my contribution. Gobstones.
So I think those are some of the DLCs that I would really like to see. the Summoner's Court and then a Ravenclaw quest. But I think there's a lot of really good ideas out there. I think more of the scary ones. But yeah, go for it. Go for it.
No, I just wanted, because I had a thought about Quidditch, and like, because you're so right. It would be so hard to make like a life, like, your characters flying around in this Quidditch pitch, trying to actually play the game. And how would they do that? How would they create the rules? How would they keep it confined? But there's something in the room of requirement that you get as a design, as like a little table that you can put in as decor. And I think this could actually play really well into a possible Quidditch like DLC game. Not have it be like from the perspective of your character, but maybe have it be like more of like a top-down game where you could play it as like a game board instead of an actual sport in a weird way. So you could really then confine it to like more of a two-dimensional space that you play in. And then I feel like maybe the rules and like, I don't even know, because I'm not a game dev, but I feel like you could make it a little bit more easily if you kind of worked from a different like top-down perspective instead of what we're used to playing in the game is just our three-dimensional character. I don't know.
Let me cut off right quick. Todd, my favorite developer because he worked on Poppy missions, says
Todd,
we do care about quality. I was like, yeah, we can tell just looking at Hogwarts, we can tell. So we know they're going to put their best foot forward and make sure the quality is up there, which is why they're taking their time with this game, because this game has been delayed numerous times because they want to put their best foot forward. And obviously with the old gen, they want to make sure that runs smoothly as well. So we know, Todd, we appreciate all you guys and everything what you guys do. And shout out to Dustin as well with the Super Teddies or Super Chats, Snifflers in the chat. Add stuff to do in the common rooms, like Wizards.
I love this.
Stones, Gobstones, give a reason to go there. After the last
Wizards chess is a great idea.
Yeah.
Love that.
Did y'all go into those treasure vaults that had the chess puzzle?
Yeah,
that was cute.
Those were cool. I was
like, I don't remember how to play chess, but I'm going to just start. Like, I think
is that the one with the chair?
Yeah, where you transfigure.
Yeah, I still haven't solved that. So the comment section had to tell me how to do that because it was like,
and the haunted Hogsmeade one where you like you have the actual board.
Oh my gosh, I died many times.
That was
just fell straight.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I was like, I can make this jump.
That whole quest was such a masterpiece.
So
my gosh, just as a standalone thing, like I would just play that quest just by itself over and over and over again. It was so good.
Hey, speaking of DLC, maybe that quest is like a good example.
There you
go.
Yeah, of a size in an expansion or two.
There you go.
Like, because that was by far the most. Would you guys say that was probably the most lengthy quest in the game? I mean, maybe the last trial.
Because when I wanted to stream it, people were like, "It's gonna take a while, so you might want to start next stream doing it."
But yeah, I would love to see more quests. Not necessarily the horror style, but more like multi-step quests like that. They're a little bit more involved.
That was a perfect example of a side quest that was fully fleshed out, had like its own side story where you were like, I don't care about whatever is going on outside this right now. Like I am focused on this. It was
really good.
That was a good call. That was a great call. To touch on before I let Retro go, to touch on the Quidditch thing. I've had
I had to leave. I was like, no.
no. Before you go,
kicking me out
with the DLC stuff. No. I've been pitching this for the longest time in regards to Quidditch. Quidditch needs to be developed by somebody else, in my opinion. Maybe Studio Gobo or somebody. They've done racing games before and everything like that. That's fine. But I've always imagined Quidditch to be like a FIFA or a Madden type game where you can literally roster up your squad, pick teams from across the Wizarding world, Japan, South America, Africa, anywhere, and battle it out for the Quidditch World Cup. Get rankings. You're a manager, you can do salaries if you want to. You can get your coach and work on strategies and everything, and you still have that top-down effect a little bit, where you can control characters from a wider stance. Not just one, but a variety of them. So if you focus on this snitch, then you just focus on this seeker, and try to do that for points. So then there's strategy, or you can just go regular and just try to get the ball through the hoop and go through there and try to nail that. But I've always looked at Quidditch as a separate game, and I was actually okay with it not being in Hogwarts Legacy because Quidditch is so big, it deserves its own game, in my opinion. So
Quidditch World Cup, like
I was about to say that.
That's one of like people's favorite Harry Potter games was Quidditch World Cup.
Yeah, so everybody wants.
It was good. It was good.
Yep. Do that. But go ahead, Retro. What you got?
Oh, I was just gonna say, people always want to say like the old games had Quidditch. How could Hogwarts Legacy not have Quidditch? I'm like, you played one position. You were Harry. You were the seeker, the most important position. All you had to do was catch the snitch. That was all they had to worry about. Everything else was just moving around.
Yeah.
You didn't play something like Quidditch World Cup, which like they had to think about all these other positions and everything else that. And I mean, don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole in this, but let's be honest, like Quidditch, the way the points are set up, it's a little bit problematic for a video game.
It is.
It relies on the seeker. So they would have to tweak those things and make a variation of Quidditch. Everybody, I'm glad you brought it up, Lynette, because people would yell at us if we didn't talk about Quidditch. But I don't think it's happening with Avalanche. Like that's just my personal guess. I think they've shown like what they're like. Miranda was just talking about with Haunted Hogsmeade. I think that's a great example of some things that we might see in DLC, which I 100% believe a DLC is coming, and a sequel. Like, they're going to get the previous gens out first, but I mean, with the money they're making, with the money that they're making off this, I know, James, you've talked about how Avalanche is a relatively small team. They're going to be able to do, like, I'm sure they're having meetings right now with WB, like, where do we go from here? Like, how do we build on this? Because they can open up a second studio. They can hire a bunch of new people. There's so much opportunity that they're going to have now as a result of this game. So, okay, my personal thing, I've got like, there's like the short term, right? Of like, okay, focus on quality of life. Things that could be free, don't have to be DLC. Photo mode, please. We got to have it. It needs to be in there. It's a relatively easy thing. Non-game dev here. I guess we should stop saying that. I think we made it clear we're not game developers.
Did y'all know we are not game developers?
Todd, tell them.
We're still trying to pass as content creators. So, like, we got.
We're just people on the internet.
So, photo mode, I would love to see like crossed wands, summoner's core. I'm thinking of like low-hanging fruit stuff that's like already in the game. That you just like add a little bit more. More like cosmetic stuff would be great. Other options like that. So that's sort of like the things that you could start with that don't even need to be paid DLC, right? But then when you start to get into the paid DLC, you could see things like a series of missions like the Haunted Hogsmeade quest line. Like, I think the pinnacle for like well done DLC is like The Witcher. You look at Blood and Wine and what was the other one? There was a second one, but they were both like highly regarded among fans and critics of just being like, this is how you do a good, worthwhile DLC.
Right.
So, I mean, I personally think, and I know they'll never do this. Like, I know Hogwarts Legacy 2 is going to be year 6 is my personal guess. I would love to see year 6 as a DLC, year 7 as a second DLC.
Really?
Yeah. Because the world they've already created, and I started thinking about this after my conversation with Luke Stevens, a fellow YouTuber who was very, skeptical of Hogwarts Legacy going in. He ended up enjoying the game, but we were talking about like sequel opportunity. He's made a lot of good videos. On the game, but it's like, I don't know how you would take. You can't take it out of Hogwarts. My personal opinion. I know everybody's like, let's see more wizarding school.
No.
Yeah, that's great, but like,
no,
it's not gonna do as well as this game if
No,
you
it's
do
not.
if you do that, if you leave Hogwarts. So you've got this great foundation built. You've got the school. You've got this surrounding area. Like everybody pretty much agrees. Like the school is fantastic. Like the castle itself, all that's fantastic. But if you make a second game, we were trying to think about this on stream one night. Like I don't know that I can't recall a game where they had a sequel set in the exact same world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll give you all a little bit to think about it. Like the exact same, you know? And so we're saying like it has to be at Hogwarts. Well, they can't like add new rooms. They can't be like, oh, there's
But if they have floating islands like Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, you're gonna
just appearing.
It's like you can't do like I love Revelio pages, but you can't have us go in and find the same Revelio pages again.
True.
So that's why I'm kind of like, okay, what if year 6 was a big expansion DLC? First of all, that's going to make it get here quicker. They don't have to focus on developing like a full-fledged new game. You already have this foundation. You've got your character created. Maybe like a year and a half down the road, you get year 6. Another year and a half, you get
Retro
year 7.
is selling this. I'm like buying it already.
I love it.
The sequel, our character graduates.
Yes.
That's when
go into the
that'd be
world.
cool.
The
Yeah.
real world.
Yeah.
I want to see
Yes.
the
Love
ministry.
that.
I want to
go
be an
the ministry.
unspeakable, please.
Yes. We need
Yeah.
I want
ministry.
I want a job.
Azkaban.
Adults.
Yeah.
I want
like
adult.
other Wizarding World locations. But we could be like a mentor like Fig. Maybe we're a professor. We take a student under our... This is the sequel.
Oh my
now,
God,
for those of
stop.
you following along. We're a professor. We take a student under our wing and we're like, you can go out and explore these other areas, but you still keep coming back to Hogwarts.
Amazing.
Right?
Yes.
So why
Yeah,
can't
I
you,
laid out like a
choose-
10-year vision for Avalon.
Yes.
know, right?
Okay.
On my stream one night.
Yo,
You know,
Here's
just
your
email
all's
it.
Plan. You can, I'll put it in a Word doc and send it over. Okay, go ahead, Miranda. I had one more thing, but it slipped my mind for a second.
No, just like going off of that, like building off of the world that we already have in the area that we already know so well. Like I would love to be able to choose a profession. You know, we already kind of know about all these professions like the unspeakables, the Aurors, the minister of magic himself, a professor, a headmaster. Like why not be able to choose down the road? Like I want to pay wizard taxes. I want to, you know, add to society.
You start your campaign for minister.
Yes, like vote for me, please. Yes.
Okay, I remember
always
what it
thought a
was.
sequel. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, man.
No, and then I'll be quiet. After we started the game at Gringotts, my hopes were up like so high because I was like, dude, we're gonna be doing this throughout the game. We're gonna be going to other Wizarding World locations. We're gonna be going out with Fig to Diagon Alley. Fig's gonna take us to Azkaban. Hufflepuffs, don't even start. But even that was like a very limited. I'm like, come on, you went to Azkaban and they just walked down a hall.
I know.
So I'm like, all
awesome.
of those things. There's so much opportunity. The Ministry, Azkaban, Diagon Alley, more Gringotts because what we got of Gringotts was great, and I thought that's what they were setting up, and then we just didn't do it anymore.
Yeah,
like, I mean, we got a little bit of it with the Deathly Hallows mission, but that was like through a pensive and everything. So
I'm opposite with that. And the reason being because of the wider audience. After being hurt by Merlin and his lack of presence, I've become more of a realist now. I'm sorry. I know the hope is gone.
He's reining it in.
I have to rein it in a little bit. Retro, feel free to take the mantle. But I think sequel, because I'm just going to jump right into sequel. I think sequel has to be 6th year for so many reasons.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. That's what's gonna happen.
yeah. But I think it has to do that because even when we see like the Fantastic Beast and these other iterations of the Wizarding World, what tethers it all together is Hogwarts.
And each year, you have the school year.
Yeah, you have to have that school year. And so the stuff that we wanted, let's say for Hogwarts Legacy, the first one, they just put in the second one, sitting down, sitting down for one. It's stuff to do in the common rooms.
Don't get me started on that one.
I still can't get over that.
Okay, I'm gonna be quiet. I don't want to make anybody mad.
But like a lot of stuff we have been in the community have been talking about, like you said, Retro, that's low hanging fruit. Wizard's chess, gobstones, a little mini game for Quidditch. Not so much a full-fledged season, but a little bit of stuff because we're still focusing on the wider threat. So when we get Hogwarts, yes, you could, but Hogwarts changes. Hogwarts is a entity, in my opinion. You can add a lot of stuff. You can, and stuff that we haven't explored, and they can expound upon. I think if I remember correctly, Boston even talked about, like when I had one-on-one conversations with her, I think this is like only 50 to 60% of Hogwarts that they originally had. So that other 30 to 40% that they were going to go
bigger.
with,
oh wow,
yeah, it was bigger. So that other percentage they can just build upon, and then
wait, it's just gonna magically expand like the room of requirement.
I'm just saying, maybe there's a tower over here.
Deke
that
opens
still
up
fits.
the room.
Yeah, maybe there's something over there. But the teachers, just add more classes. We can fly by.
There are more classrooms than in the space, because I found it and I was like, what is this place? Who teaches this class?
And stuff for the teachers. So I was like,
that was so awesome. That whole area was so cool.
I love that.
Because you're in some place you're not supposed to be. It's like, let's break into your rooms.
You're winning me over, James. You're winning me over. But here's what I would say, like, all that we just talked about right there, that sense of discovery the first time. Mm-hmm. How would it be in a sequel if you're just like, oh yeah, here's that room, and here's that room, and here's that room again?
That's not the focus, though. The focus is now expanding. So now we have access.
Like you don't have that discovery anymore. Though.
Yeah. So now we have access to London. Now, because I don't know if you guys heard this. Natsai talked about apparition being a skill you pick up in year 6.
Mm-hmm.
She talked about that.
Yeah,
so I'm like, bruh, that's narrative right there. So year 6 is a sequel.
You can go anywhere.
We can apparate now.
Boom, boom, boom.
We can apparate.
Yeah.
So it's not so much you're relying on your beast to get around or your broom. Bruh, we teleporting to London wherever we can. And so now they can start adding little maps while building upon what they already have in the Scottish Highlands and Lowlands. And now add Gringotts and Diagon Alley and the Ministry and these areas and anywhere else in the UK, and build on that bigger, wider threat of ancient magic still popping up and what the Ministry might be involved with, whether it's covering up or someone higher up within the Ministry trying to use it for their own gain. And now we have to do it as a student and just widen that threat, make the threat even more palpable now, because Ranrock and Rookwood seem just in Scotland. Mm-hmm. So now, with the ancient magic, we can sense it. You can't tell me anybody in the Ministry and Unspeakables aren't detecting ancient magic now. Come on. It's again low-hanging fruit that's already there, and just widen the gaze.
We're on the same page then. I think I just don't want to wait so long. So I'm like, put it in a DLC, please.
Yeah. I think that what's tricky is that sequels are tricky, right? Yeah, so like I think whatever it is needs to be worth having it as a standalone game, as opposed to like, why can't you just do that? So I think that's what I was hearing you say, Retro, is like, it has to be substantial enough or substantive enough to carry on its own. And so, James, I also hear you adding on a potential thread of like, what could the story be connected with? But to execute it, I think is going to be pretty tricky to make sure that it feels like it, because mind you, we're not going to be paying like, oh, this is a DLC price. This is going to be a full game price. Like, what is it that is going to feel worth it? And also have where it's a game that feels like it is worth that price that we're paying, and that it's something new. It's not just this rehashing of like, oh, there's just some extra things. Like, they could have done this in a DLC format over time. So I'm happy with whatever. I'm gonna be the ultimate pessimist because that helps me not have expectations of like, I'm just not gonna think about a sequel because I don't want to think about like, dream big and not have it meet it. Because there are, I mean, I've said this before. This is not even the same kind of game, but Portal 2 is probably one of my I say this a lot, but one of my favorite games of all time, and it builds upon like a world that you're familiar with, but it does it in a different way where now you're at a different point in time and you're trying to do stuff and there's new characters popping in and out, and then there's like a whole thing at the end of like, what is even happening here? But it builds upon, you have to give service to like what made people fall in love with the game in the first place, but then also give something new that is, whether it's like a mechanic based thing or like exploration story, like all of those things need to be integrated and built upon that world, which I do agree with you that Hogwarts is the centerpiece and should be the centerpiece, but what that looks like, I don't know.
Right. See, we all agree, like you gotta have it there, but then
I think
that's why she's doing your PhD, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, right.
Better words than I could.
I think that's where the story has to carry the rest of it. Because you can talk about, features and expounding upon it and giving cats reasons to buy this game. And is it a rehash of Hogwarts Legacy since it made over $1 billion or something like that? Are they just capitalizing it and not putting so much into it? But I mean, all of us knowing the devs and the people who are invested in this world overall and telling a good story, I just know they're going to come up with something dope with the Ministry, London, Diagon Alley overall, because then you can start getting into like corruption in the Ministry, getting into like sketchy characters who aren't just poachers, but who are hanging out in Diagon Alley and have Nocturne Alley, who have like some
infiltrating Diagon Alley too.
Horrible like stuff they want to do. And like, heck, we could be on the run in the Ministry. It's like, yo, how are we leaving this decision with Ancient Magic with a 15, 16-year-old? Like,
I would love to fight the Minister.
Yo, I would love that.
Honestly,
went through that. You know what I'm saying?
Boss for the next game.
And
boss.
Do you have Ada? Or
the next game is just going to be a coup. We just take over the Ministry of Magic. That's it.
Miranda,
the 16-year-old.
You just played Miles Morales. Is it the exact same city? Like, is there? So maybe they do like a Miles Morales route, because remember it was cheaper and like it's like a smaller. So that's sort of what I was saying when I was envisioning, like, okay, maybe it's not a full-fledged sequel, but it's a DLC.
Or think about this though.
Go ahead, Kellen. We hadn't.
Sorry, I interrupted you too. I think.
All good. I like what you're saying, Retro, in terms of adding the DLC content the way that you're suggesting. I always thought that a sequel to Hogwarts Legacy would be quite different, or even like something entirely different in the space. Like, you could do a bunch of different stuff. Maybe it's at a majorly different point in time. Like, they could go back to the original founders of Hogwarts and put it in that time frame when that started off. You could do a lot of cool stuff there, I think. You could also take it to a different location, like Fantastic Beasts did in a large degree. You could go to Durmstrang. You could do an American type school. I forget the American school. Exactly. They even explored that a little bit with Natty's character as well, in terms of a different school. So I think there could actually be a sequel that isn't a sequel to Hogwarts Legacy in terms of a storyline, but has a very similar feel and presentation, but a completely new, fresh story that doesn't have to compete with what they already did. Because I think that's the problem with the sequel, is being able to compete with the original in a way that's going to be extremely difficult to actually add to a storyline that they basically finished. They finished the storyline. It's so
I was gonna say, if you continue this on, then they gotta pick what is the ending.
Yeah.
And Sebastian, is he there or not?
True.
Sebastian's the baddie.
Maybe he's the bad. Like,
oh my god.
That's a final boss.
Did y'all
choose?
Did y'all choose good What did you do at the end? I mean, I've only had one ending so far, and I'm still in like the process of the next playthrough. What did y'all do?
I turned him in, and I almost think they want that to feel like the bad ending.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
So weird to me.
I was like, how am I guilty? I haven't used
the
the
best. Let's talk about it here.
I was actually talking about the end, but I'll go with this for now.
Oh, the end?
Yeah.
With the magic.
With the ancient magic,
whether you keep it sealed or not.
Yeah.
Oh, I did what Fig wanted you to do.
Yeah.
Like, I kept it secret and was like,
there was 2 questions with that though.
Or no, I didn't.
There were 2
secret. I said I would keep it contained, but that we would share it with other people. Like we'll tell
eventually
about it.
Yeah. That's what I did. What I did. Okay.
That's I think the good.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I did too.
Did anyone do bad? Okay. I don't want to watch it. Like I want to experience it myself.
Okay.
I haven't done the bad. I want to see.
Okay.
It's not that big of a difference.
Okay.
That's what I heard too. But I'm just okay. But sorry, go back to Sebastian. So you said that.
To your point, either way, like if they do a sequel, like they're gonna have to decide which ending is canon or whatever.
Right.
Clearly, the way this game went down, I think the bad everything is the canon. I think Slytherin is like the canon playthrough. I think all the evil and dark choices. But I think, like the Sebastian choice, to me, it felt like the good choice. They wanted you to feel like bad about it. It was like, turn him in. He's gone forever. And if you don't, do you guys care if I tell you like both?
No.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
Because I haven't played it, but I've watched both endings. And if you don't turn him in, that to me is where you get the first sign of any sort of redemption for him. I found so weird that they waited until then.
Really?
But that's like the first time he actually looks like he is showing some true remorse.
Really?
And like he actually may have a chance to turn this around.
Yeah.
I turned him in because what you said, Miranda, like I'm like, this dude's gonna be Voldemort 0.5.
The signs were all there.
Yes.
Imperio was the moment.
I mean, he killed his family. Like I had to do it. Like some people were like, Miranda, where's your loyalty? And I was like, but like ethics, like morals, like So there's like the two, there's the 2 things about Hufflepuff. There's loyalty, but then there's like honesty. And I literally, when I was taking the quiz to figure out what house I was in, there was literally a question of like, somebody does something bad, do you turn them in? Do you not turn them in? And I was like, I turned them in, and then they put me in Hufflepuff. I was like, this would literally be hypocritical of me. Like this, I can't do it.
Wait, are there 2 options? Oh, go ahead.
Well,
Kellen.
the other options you don't turn them in, and I picked that option to not turn them in, but I did it because I didn't want the character to disappear from the game, and I was worried that on my main playthrough he would no longer be just roaming around Hogwarts.
You're right. He goes away. Yeah,
he's gone. But are there 2 options where it's like Ominous can turn him in, or you can turn him in? Or am I misremembering that? Or does Ominous straight up turn him in?
Ominous asks you, and then you kind of decide. And he's like, I'll go tell him.
I'll do it.
So technically, we didn't turn him in. That's what I keep saying.
Oh my God.
I didn't do
it. And then the guilt of like, you just sent this 15-year-old to Azkaban. I was like, he is still a minor. I would like to believe that they sent him to like a wizard juvenile detention center.
We don't know that he got sent to Azkaban. All we know is that his trial is upcoming. So this is listen, it's okay. It was a good decision.
Finding loopholes to clear her head.
I was saying I could just rationalize all my decisions. I'm like, no, this is right because.
That's funny.
I love it. That's a Ravenclaw right there.
Right. I mean, you're right though.
Oh my gosh, yo!
Wow.
So James, have you even done that part yet?
Yo,
I know you beat the game.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did do that off camera because I was like, I need to know what happens before I talk to these guys about it. So I was like, let me do it. So I just haven't finished Natty's or Poppy's quest, which I've been spoiled. I know what happens. It's a cool thing with Natty's thing with the jumping in and stuff. But yeah, I won't go into it. But I was just thinking about it. I was talking about it actually last night because we were watching the credits, and which was so cool, by the way. I didn't realize how many studios were involved in this game.
Yeah.
Good gracious. But we were talking about a time frame for a sequel. We were like, okay, 3 years, 4 years.
I'm gonna get sad.
And then we started doing the math because I was like, wait. Will PS5 be the old gen by the time Hogwarts Legacy 2 comes out? Because every 7 years, I think when the PS4 and PS5 came out, between that time frame, between the PS4 and PS5,
Don't say that.
it was 7 years. It was 7 years.
I did
And the
too.
PlayStation 5 was announced or released in 2020.
20, yeah.
Yeah, when they did the reveal trailer, because it was at the PlayStation Showcase.
Yeah.
So I think 3 years is generous. I think more 4 years possibly, depending on how
substantial the DLC.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'm like, okay, will the Xbox Series and the PS5 be the old gen, and now they have to make games for those and the current gen at that time, which would be a
and
PS6, and then a new Switch also. Because they're going to have a new.
It's been time.
Yeah,
maybe. Who knows? With
Nintendo. Nobody knows. It'll just be a surprise drop.
7 years old now.
Wait,
the Switch?
2017, right?
Yeah.
It'll be like a surprise Beyonce drop album, except it's the Switch. It's like, oh, here it is.
James, when I was listening when you were talking about that yesterday, and that's how I knew that I'm officially an old man gamer at this point, because I'm just like, no, it's too early for new consoles. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Play my PS5. Oh, I don't even want to think of. They're already talking. I don't know if you guys see the PS5 Pro rumors.
I saw it and I was like, I'm just gonna close this tab. I'm not gonna think about it.
And then I remember whenever they released PS4 Pro, I was so pumped for it. So that's I know I've aged in those years. I just don't enjoy what I have.
I got my
that's funny
Dreamcast like sitting right here.
Oh my gosh!
We've been doing retro stuff, no pun intended, games for a minute now, and I'm just like, gaming has come a long way, and I mean, going back to Harry Potter, like the first Harry Potter game up to now with Hogwarts Legacy, it's just like, man, like what a time to be alive. Like honestly, storytelling, graphics, I mean everything. And with VR becoming a thing now, people want to do Hogwarts Legacy with VR and casting spells and stuff like that. That might be the next game, you know.
Can you imagine Haunted Hogsmeade in VR?
Oh no, thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
I don't have a current fear of heights, but I'm afraid that if I ride my broomstick in a VR and I look down in the game, I'm just gonna be like, nope, we're gonna ground ourselves right now.
I need a complete football field when I do mine, because I'll be running everywhere. Because I will run into something.
I might finally have to get VR if they ever did anything Hogwarts Legacy. I don't have. You guys own any?
No.
Yeah,
I don't own any.
not yet.
But I absolutely would.
There's a zombie game that is really good. It's like Arizona Sunshine or something like that. It's a zombie game.
Is it
quite
scary?
good for VR.
Yeah.
There's some scary parts to it.
Oh no.
But for the most, it's not horrible because I'm not really into stuff like that either. But I thought it was a really good VR game.
Sweet.
Okay.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
How long do you find you can play VR before you have to like snap out of it for a bit? Because that was my biggest.
I can play for
my biggest thing.
Yeah, I could play for a couple hours and be fine.
Just like normal.
Yeah. I mean, you are standing a lot, so I mean, like I don't have. It's not a big deal to me, but I could. I mean, definitely not as long as sitting down and playing Hogwarts Legacy. I couldn't play that long, for sure not. But
that's been the biggest thing, like holding me back, of getting VR.
There's some really cool ones. I mean, there's definitely some fun games on VR. I've enjoyed it. I don't play a lot, but it's fun bringing it out every now and then.
Yeah,
I gotta check it out. I gotta check it out. But yeah, just imagine we're gonna have the next gen Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox possibly when Hogwarts
could be a launch title. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be. It could be, or whatever other system that we couldn't even thought of.
Probably cross-gen again.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And I don't blame them for working on old school. Well, doing old gen game for Hogwarts Legacy because let's be honest,
This
Switch.
was a weird
transition.
transition.
Yeah, it was. But I mean, the
2020,
Switch.
and then it was so hard to find the next gen systems.
Oh my gosh, it is. I can't. And
that's why I agreed with Brooke in the chat. Brooke said, "I still feel like PS5 is brand new." And I think that's why, because it's just now. I don't know if you guys saw, they were doing discount, $50 discount.
I saw. Yeah.
First time it's ever been like readily available, and they're doing discounts.
Yeah.
And 3 years later,
like, it was so hard. I got mine a little bit before you did, Lynette, and it was hard to find.
Yeah.
Like they were hard to get still.
Yeah.
Like just like 4 months ago or 3
only
months
at the end of last year, I think. No, I think at the end of last year you still had to be on those like those email lists and have like hope that you were going to get, that link sent to you. And I think I just saw within the last month or so they've been readily available. Before that, you had to be on some sort of wait list.
3 years later. That's crazy.
Yeah. Best purchase I made, I think, in 2022. Like, I have never loved gaming so much. It's honestly, it's reinvigorated my love for it.
Yeah. The PS, I really do like
something
the PS5.
about it. Yeah.
Everybody has the PS5, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know we convinced Lynette to do it in LA.
Y'all did. You did it in LA. I was just like, all right. I got home. It was like, it wasn't the first thing I said to Jeff, but it was one of the first things that I said to him. And he just looked at me like, where is this coming from? Like, you want to do what now?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Because I've been playing games on PC for a very long time, and I was just like, I don't know, it's time. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I remember when you nonchalantly said, like, I just got my hands on a PS5. I was like, I had to wait 2 years. Oh my gosh.
But before we wrap up, let's try and do some rapid fire questions. So chat, if you got any questions, I didn't see anything from Patronus Squad. So shout out to cats who support the channel. But if you guys have anything you would like to ask this prestigious panel, feel free. I'll try to see if I can pick up on anything before we get out of here, because we have been talking for a minute. Yeah, I saw a couple of stuff earlier, but chat's just been moving so fast now. It's going to be a minute before I can try and catch up. Brendan said he left some, but I would ask you guys to just re-ask them because.
Oh, here's one. Somebody said merch nachos, I think it or
Mechanic Chaos.
Oh my goodness. I'm butchering that. A question for the panel, Wizarding World Fest? Question mark.
Oh my gosh. When are we going to hear about that?
I have been literally Google searching it once a week.
Do you have it on the Google alerts? I should add that. We should all add that.
Waiting for an announcement. I've been checking my Harry Potter fan club app because
this is something they've been doing every year.
No, this is the first time
that
they'll be doing it.
Ever done it? This is the first time, and so this is
Wizarding World, right?
Wizarding World.
I'm thinking
Fest.
Back to Hogwarts. So this is different.
Yeah,
that's where they made the announcement. Was at Back to Hogwarts.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But this is supposedly a gathering of Harry Potter fans, and they're going to have watch parties where they have big screens here. They're going to have people where you can talk to. It's just going to be a festival just for those who are fans of Harry Potter. And so I've been checking my Harry Potter fan club app because we usually get early access to tickets or information. I just got notice for the Harry Potter exhibit that's going to New York from Atlanta now. And so I'm like, that's another excuse for me to go to New York now on top of the New York store. But the Wizarding World Fest, they said it's going to be in the United States, and they said it was going to happen this year in 2023.
Yeah.
The thing is, we haven't heard anything, which is crazy because we're fastly approaching spring/summer.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people need time to plan, book trips. I mean, there's going to be a ton of people coming from overseas. So if we hear anything, at least over our end over XpectoGO, I will let you guys know, because we plan on going. We're putting a lot of trips on hold until we hear yay or nay on this possible thing, because I think this would be a great opportunity to meet you guys again, but also the extended Hogwarts Legacy community and Harry Potter community overall. We've done this before, meetups that I've hosted before and other situations. So in real life type situations where you meet people is always a blessing and it's always a good time. So hopefully it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So yeah, that's what that is, Brendan. So we'll let you know, B. Let me see. Does this mean we have to fly to the US? Yes, Magica, you would have to fly to the US. Yep. Thoughts on the Harry Potter remake? Oh my gosh, I wanted to talk about that. Yes. Good or bad? Kellen, Harry Potter remake TV series on HBO Max, doing each book as a season.
Yeah. I love the idea. I'm a little concerned if it'll be executed well, but if it can be executed well, then I'll be super excited. I'll probably watch it either way, but it's so hard to beat the movies. The original movies are so hard to beat. Yeah. So, I mean, HBO usually does a good job when they put their mind to something. So that does give me some hope. But I think the jury is out on something like that until you actually see a product on it. But I think it could be great. I'm hopeful, optimism.
So optimistic.
Lynette.
Listen. I said on Friggin' Nerds Media on Friday, I don't care about Harry Potter. I never speak to me about Harry Potter again. Like the person, not the stories in general. Like
I was confused for a second.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I'm a liar. No, I think that is it too late to like not do it? Because if you could just take that money and invest it in like a Wizarding World MMO, like literally just do that instead. Like give me something. I'm like, Barney Stinson from How I Met Your Mother. He always says new is always better. That's how I feel. I don't like remakes in general because I've been burned too many times by remakes that I think I'm like hopeful, like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great. No, it's terrible. I don't want it.
All right, random off of that.
James. Yeah, echoing what you guys said, I'm a big no on that. Mostly because the last movie only came out within the last 10 years. Frankly, because
20.
the
last
game.
Movie.
I'm sorry, the last movie.
Yeah.
And then for me, it's weird seeing anyone else like besides the main three actors and actresses. Like, it would be so immersion destroying for me to see somebody else portray the same characters that we already know and love and have been so well done by other people. And then I'm the same way. Like, new is better. Kind of going back to like what's the show that they just did, the spin-off of the Lord of the Rings. Even though that was brand new, I kind of like Harry Potter where it's at right now, and I kind of want to remember it like that. I don't want to potentially have anything ruined for me, because the way it is in my head right now is very nostalgic, and I don't want that to be covered up at all. I like how I am with it at this moment. I personally don't need a reboot.
Good call. Retro.
I'll be different. I'll give it the thumbs up, man. I'm ready. I want to see it.
Me too.
I agree with what Kellen, like, I feel like they did such a good job on the movies, but as I told you guys, like, I was a diehard fan from the books, and so I was the one sitting there like, oh, you messed this up. You messed this up. You left this out. The Marauders. Hello.
Yeah.
You're not going to include that. Did you put your name into the Goblet of Fire? Harry.
He said calmly.
Not my.
Yes, he said calmly.
Not my Dumbledore. So I'm like, it can be done better, dude. It can be done a lot better.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that's one thing I think about the TV show that could be cool is that I think they can explore some other things within the books that they didn't cover, and that's what I would want to see plot-wise, not the main storyline. The smaller points, like the classes that they never showed, or the experiences that they never showed. Like that's what they should really do with the show.
That's why I'm okay with it. Like we talked about it last night on our podcast, Friggin' Nerds. Like Adam Driver as Snape, like, come on, like that would be
I will watch
so
anything
dope.
with Adam Driver.
Ralph Fiennes is the only Voldemort. Like, and I cannot see anyone with no nose like that. And no, it's not gonna work.
The stuff they didn't do in the movies, which was a ton. I mean, granted, season 1 would be short because I mean the first book was short, you know what I'm saying? But like once you start moving forward, like I think, especially on HBO, like you got to remember they're doing Last of Us there. They're doing House of the Dragon. They're doing so many other stuff. Watchmen was up there, which is a great show. I mean, you got Euphoria, which is some other shows. Like HBO Max has not missed really with TV shows, and so I'm just like, yo, if they take that money with this IP, let JK able to expand and stuff, add some scenes. Like, I mean, Last of Us, like. Episode 3, that's all I need to say. You know what I'm saying? They can do that with Harry Potter and give us some scenes that like we didn't think we needed, but now like just adds to the lore. Like, bro, I'm all on it if done correctly. I'm yo, give it to me. And plus, this could be for my kids. Like, yes, I have nostalgia with Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, you know, Rupert, and all of them, obviously. And you cannot replace Hagrid. Like, obviously, yes, that's all true. But my kids are coming up. There's going to be a generation that looks at Harry Potter as like the graphics are horrible, you know, looking at the movies. They can do this and do it with the TV show and like, yo, this is more my speed. I'm all for it. Give me something new. I'm good.
I will say I'm playing it up for the content a little bit, but I do feel like I would be open to seeing what would happen. Although then Lynette said like, I'd rather that money be put to
Give
an
me
MMO.
Something interactive.
I
don't know. Maybe I'm biased because I'm like so into games right now. Like I split my time mostly between film, TV, and games. Like I just like visual media more so than reading, surprisingly. I'm just so into games right now. I don't know.
Or like the story of the founders. I do agree with you guys on that. It's like there are so many other stories you could tell within the world of Harry Potter that maybe your money's better spent there. But I'm like, I'd be down to see it. I'd love to see them try it to retell.
I say go for it. If it's great, it's great. You know, I, like at the end of the day, it's down to me. It's my choice whether I want to watch it or not. And it's, you know, if it's really great, I'll watch it. Absolutely.
Because I think it just boils down to connecting with the general audience. Because hardcore fans are going to check it out. We're going to be there. If it's Founders, if it's, you know, Harry Potter's Marauders, we're going to be there. But I think for the general audience, people like Founders, who is that? You know, like, oh, Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw. Oh, those were people. Oh, I didn't know that. You know, so like, I think if you do a remake, you start here and then expand with you know, Marauders and other people that
maybe they could do
there.
After Harry graduates, and we can just like rewrite the whole cursed child, pretend that never happened. Just rewrite that.
Please.
Well,
oh, go ahead, Callum.
No, it's okay. Go for it.
No, I was going to say another question. Hogwarts Legacy, Game of the Year, yes or no? Will it win Game of the Year?
For me.
No. It's too tough this year. It's so freaking tough this year.
I think it's too early to tell.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, because we haven't played.
Games, though. Yeah,
because we still got Jedi Survivor. We got Spider-Man 2.
Kingdom.
Okay, wait.
Starfield.
What are the contenders? Tears of the Kingdom, obviously.
Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2 for sure.
Starfield.
Yeah.
Maybe Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah.
Some people are even trying to say Resident Evil 4, which I'll say. Love the game, but it's a remake.
It's a remake. You don't get your second go around. No,
I agree.
Here's my second submission.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
If people feel that it's too,
but this is what you're saying earlier. Like that's I am nervous about it.
Exactly.
That's a good.
I'm very excited.
My next video. I'm working on a Tears of the Kingdom video. Like because that's been the biggest critique for people. Is like
that's a good point.
It's just like the last game.
That's a great point.
Nintendo, you know the gameplay is going to be top notch, but if it's too samey, too similar, I can see people being like, "Nah, it's not Game of the Year." Starfield will be up there. Spider-Man, 100%
absolutely
has
will
the
be
potential.
Yep.
Yeah,
but I mean, I think Hogwarts Legacy is in the conversation. Which
I agree.
If you had told me that before it came out, I would have said, "No way."
Okay, yeah.
For me personally, could be my personal Game of the Year, but as far as everybody else.
Right.
Yeah.
Now though, it's got a chance.
And as an original game, like first of its kind,
right? I think
it's amazing. I mean, it's absolutely, they nailed it. Can't stress that enough. Like as an original, first of its kind, #1 in the series, if they ever keep going with it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Phenomenal.
Agreed.
Well, they were in a good position being nominated for most anticipated game alongside
for sure.
all of those.
Yes.
Big
I was glad
franchises.
they were nominated because I was worried about the outside noise might, get in the way of that. So I was so happy to see that. Cloud Roth, going back to the show, he said they should make, thanks for the Super Teddy Sniffles in the chat, they should make Wizarding World brand new characters, new infinite possibilities. Going to take a chance like this is wild to them. So yeah, maybe just do something completely new in the Wizarding World, different time era, moving forward. I get that. But yeah, with the game of the year, I think it's going to be either Zelda or Spider-Man 2. I don't see it being Starfield. Honestly, I just don't trust it. Coming out.
I agree.
There's a lot of moving pieces there. So yeah, my top 2 contenders is going to be Spider-Man 2 and Tears of the Kingdom. But I think Hogwarts Legacy is going to have the most sales out of anybody.
Oh, absolutely.
It deserves to win awards, period.
Yeah.
Game of the year. That's always so hard because when you got so many great games coming out in the same year, like that's a tough.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's so tough.
It deserves an award.
I was gonna say about sales, Spider-Man, but it's exclusive, right?
Yeah, all the top ones are exclusive.
Legacy could very well. I mean, it's gonna be up there with. Is there a Call of Duty game coming out this year? Probably so, right?
No.
Oh, there's not.
No, there's no Call of Duty. I checked. I've been checking this.
It might be the best selling game of the year.
Yeah, that's what I
think
saying.
So. You said it, James, and I was like, wait a second. And I was like, oh no, you're right.
Could be up there.
I don't think it's going to match Hogwarts Legacy.
I don't think it will.
Yeah. I also don't.
No. It's because Zelda, the top games, Zelda's exclusive, Starfield's exclusive, Spider-Man's exclusive.
Yep.
So that's going to limit their sales automatically.
Right.
And plus, it hasn't touched the Switch, which the Switch is still the highest selling platform console, and you're getting Hogwarts Legacy on the Switch for kids. Oh my god!
Yeah.
This game is going to make so much. I don't see anybody catching up to Hogwarts Legacy.
Good point. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah, the Switch is going to be insane.
Yes. Yes. The Switch sales are going to be crazy. And if they plan a DLC around that time too,
that would be really...
How soon DLC? The delay makes me worry.
Yeah.
Since they had to delay the other versions.
I think next year. I was hopeful for end of the summer.
I was thinking summer.
I was hoping for end of summer.
Yeah.
Like
maybe it depends on if they have it, like, just chunked aside. Like, we're also polishing it alongside like what we were doing for launch. So
right. Yeah, they're working on the old gen, so I just see that kind of slowing.
Which they've been very clear about. I think that's why they've kind of scaled back. They haven't really been.
Yep, they're trying to get that thing out there.
Is that kind of an insult if you're like,
it is.
Hey, we're working on all this stuff, but
it is.
Sorry, you last gen players.
It is, but I mean, it is a business also, and they got to make money. And I think
Todd says it's already made a ton of money. Yes,
right. Like,
hopefully generous bonuses for you guys.
I know. I was like, y'all, Avalanche should take up that entire building, move out everybody who was in there. Lynette knows what I'm talking about. Just expand, take up.
See, that's what's so exciting for them, though, right? I mean, this is like, I gotta think unprecedented amounts of money pouring in for them.
Yeah,
right now. Like,
where's it going though? That's
like you could hire new talent. You could open up a second studio. Obviously, I hope they're getting bonuses.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of royalties though going out. There's multiple levels. So it's going places for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there was incentives, just like any contract. Like if the game makes this amount, project manager, game director, Alan 2, whatever, and then anybody involved gets extra bonuses and stuff like that on top of this. So yeah, I mean David Haydad, the president or CEO, whoever his title is for WB Games, is just like, bro, we're going to make more Hogwarts Legacy. So he's looking at that as a money maker right now.
The franchise.
We
didn't even talk about the TV show rumor. a Hogwarts Legacy
yeah.
TV show room.
Yeah.
Oh.
See, that's what I think that would be a better HBO series.
Yes.
I agree.
Agreed.
I'm
Yes.
so
Agreed.
here for that.
Agreed.
I agree.
And it doesn't even have to be like our story. Like they could pick one of the professors, which the professor's incredible in this game.
Oh my god.
Heck-it,
Yes,
please.
Heck-it.
Yeah, heck,
Okay.
it's so interesting.
Yes.
Retro, did you share that tweet where I missed this? I didn't see
The
that. Is this
age?
true? Yeah, the age thing
with
in
the mirror.
I had it.
mirror?
Yeah.
The mirror, I think some people have done some additional testing, and I don't
Yeah.
think it's actually
With the white
what
hair,
was
right?
intended.
If it's white
I
hair,
think
then it turns brown.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
there
don't
might have
think
been
it's
some foul
actually
play
showing
there.
her. No, not
I
foul
love
play,
her.
but just
What
like
the
the way
reflection
the
does
reflections
with that
work in
color.
the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't think it was
gotcha.
intended.
Gotcha.
But I was like, that would have been insane.
What did the
Yeah, that would have
Weasley-
been such a detail.
What did the
Yeah,
Weasley
yeah.
twins walk into an age circle when they tried to put their name in the Goblet of Fire? Like maybe that's what happened to her. Makes sense.
Well,
But-
I mean, she talks about.
Yeah, she does talk about it.
She
Yes.
talks about
Something
you know,
happened.
being in
Done
the
by
department
time
and
itself.
mysteries
Yeah.
and being
Yeah.
near time, and it aged her, quite a bit. Which that's why I loved my boy and Lynette. You appreciate this, Grimm and all of them, because the Department of Mysteries is so mysterious. No pun
You're the
intended.
coolest if you work there.
Yes.
Like, you
Yeah,
are
and
so
the thing
cool.
is,
You're in the
like,
cool kids club.
I mean,
Yeah.
love as one of the most powerful magics, like in the wizarding world. There's a love room, there's a time room, like I mean, let alone prophecies and everything. I was like, how's ancient magic not even in there? Or do we even know? Since love is considered ancient magic, Voldemort said like it's a old magic I forgot about, I should have remembered. So I'm just like, yo, the Department of Mysteries, and then Hecate being an unspeakable, can't talk about it. I'm like,
Oh,
bruh.
gosh.
Yeah, if they did a TV show with these professors, flesh these cats out, like have a side story, do it like Lost, like find out how they ended up there, you know what I'm saying? And then continue
Oh
with
my
our
God.
story. Like, bruh, the professors, like, I wish we had more time with them because the character bios we were leading up to the game's release was so interesting. I was like, how did Sharp get this limp? Like, what's the deal with Garlic? Like, it was like, who's she talking to? Like, who's she hollering at? Like, I was like, what is going on here? I want to know more. And Miriam,
DLC,
Pig,
DLC.
all of that. Yeah, DLC.
One of my favorite moments of the game was when we're in the final repository and like things look real bad and they fly in. I lost my freaking mind on camera. Everyone was like watching me and being like, oh my God, she's screaming. And I'm like, yes, you see what's on my screen. This is the most epic. It was like one of the, I don't even know how to describe it.
Yeah.
I felt like I was
actually
in.
jumped up and cheered. I was
Oh
playing
my
alone.
gosh.
I wasn't even on stream.
It's like we were in a movie, like where it was like, this is the most epic entrance ever.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
That was so epic.
So
I totally
good.
agree.
Yeah.
But anyway, yo, we can talk all day.
I
and
know.
We'll probably do a part 2 because there's so much
gotta.
we can talk about. But we don't want to hold up these prestigious panel. I know they got lives and content to make and family to hang out with. I know Retro, you're going on spring break. Have fun.
Yeah.
Ours is next week,
Woo.
so that's going to be fun. I think we're going to like Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, and hanging out for like a couple of days. So, but I want to thank everybody for being here in the chat. If you're watching this on replay, sound off in the comment section. Join in the conversation. We want to hear your thoughts on all the topics discussed. But before we get out of here, I want to make sure you guys know where to find these awesome people. So let's go around. Let's start with Kellen. Where can people find you and what can they expect from you moving forward?
Yeah, you guys can find me on YouTube. It's Wizard Tricks. You guys will find me on Instagram. I have a pretty large platform there. It's Wizard Tricks Official. I'm definitely doing a little bit more streaming on Twitch, but then also I'm going to try to do a little bit more streaming on YouTube as well as some a little bit more content on Hogwarts Legacy gameplay and some tricks on how to play the game extra good.
Nice. Next up, we got Lynette. Where can people find you?
Go to so for live content, YouTube and Twitch. So YouTube is mostly Wizarding World stuff. I've been posting some of my like other gaming experiences as shorts. But Still Hogwarts Legacy content. I just put out a video this morning that took me literally forever. I've
Go check it out.
tried to acquire all the gear appearances. There are 445 of them. So it took me many hours. I would appreciate it if you told all your friends. And Twitch is going to be more variety streaming. There are so many games coming out. I actually played Diablo 4 in the open beta and enjoyed it way more than I thought I would because I had never played a Diablo game. So that may be in the future of me playing alongside Aura Jeffrey. I'll be exploding some corpses as a necromancer. Wait, stop. No, we're not starting that. So Twitch for variety streaming, industry like coverage, that sort of thing. And then you can also, I don't know, follow me on Twitter at Prof Lynette for just random day-to-day thoughts.
Nice. And Secret Slytherin stuff. We got Miranda. Where can people find you?
Mostly on YouTube. You can just look up the Miranda Lorian. I actually just shaved off the this morning. I couldn't get a tag though. That I couldn't get the Miranda Lorian tag. That's still the Miranda Lorian. But I'm on Twitter. I do post a lot on Twitter. I post a lot of things, a lot of gaming related things, but I do miscellaneous stuff on my YouTube channel, mostly gaming, but I will play anything and everything, and I will be very chaotic in doing so. I just started playing Ghost of Tsushima and I am obsessed. Obsessed.
So good.
But
now your first time playing that one?
First time.
Oh,
yeah,
it's
never
so
played
good.
it. It's unreal.
I gotta finish it.
Yeah.
So good.
Otherwise, I think that's just it. Mostly I just do YouTube, mostly recorded content, sometimes live streams if I'm feeling up to it. But yeah, YouTube.
And piggybacking off of that, Retro and I met Miranda at the LA event, and it was crazy. We didn't know who she was, and then she said her name. We were like, "Wait, I know you. I've seen your stuff before." Yeah, the thumbnails and stuff. So, piggybacking, great content from all these cats. But we met Miranda kind of late and stuff, and we're so happy we did. And so, so cool to see her be a part of the Hogwarts Legacy community and kill it with the content and stuff. So
yes,
if it wasn't for Warner Brothers inviting all of us to LA, like I probably would not be here. Period. And I would not have met these awesome people. And like when I say I am eternally grateful for that opportunity, like I cannot emphasize that enough. It's just been one of the best things that's ever happened to me personally.
Is that part one your most viewed video?
Yeah.
That's
like
it's
ever.
gonna hit 1 million. I guarantee it's gonna get to 1 million.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Speaking of
I
1
was just looking
million
the other day.
Speaking of a million,
nice
segue.
We got 2 million over here. 2 million,
Mr. 2 mil.
With the breakdown of his impression of Hogwarts Legacy. Retro Recateur. Where can people find you, Retro?
Yes, Retro Recateur on YouTube and on Twitch and on Twitter. So I've been doing a lot more streaming. Started playing Jedi, not Survivor yet, but Fallen Order. Having a lot of fun with that. Doing still finishing out my Dark Arts playthrough on Hogwarts Legacy as well. Posted my most recent video. I had way too much fun with this video of doing a challenge that I made up for myself. Dark Arts Ballerina, hard mode, no unforgivable curses, no other spells except Confringo. People in the comments were like, you can equip other spells. I'm like, yeah, but there's no, what's the fun in that? Come on.
It was a challenge. Yeah. Exactly.
So had a lot of fun with that. Tried out a different editing style, a little more fast paced than what I normally do.
I like it.
Yeah. Did you? Yeah. It's it was fun. I had a lot of fun making it, but I echo what you said, James. Like every time meeting you guys was one of the highlights of my year. I mean, it really was, and I'm so glad we're talking again.
I know.
It's been
to make this
years.
a regular thing. Yeah.
Barring any power outages, you guys have a standing room here. We can do this once a month and just talk about updates for the game. Like, has your ratings changed? What games are you playing now? We can talk about Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I don't care. You guys have an open room here, and I'll have it scheduled.
Oh, yeah, Magic Awaken.
People?
Yeah.
Can we play together? James, you're the expert.
With Magic Awaken?
Yeah.
Oh, like you can roll deep. like now you can have a certain amount for it. Just depends on what you're doing. So for duels, you can get up to 2 other people with you. 2, I think it's 3 max for like duels. But
Can you,
you
like,
can
go
also
do a
battle
quest or
another
something?
3. What'd you say?
Can you do like a quest or something together?
Yep. Forbidden
Oh,
Forest
dude.
quests and stuff.
Let's
You
go.
can take classes with your friends. You can do Muggle
Nice.
studies
If it
and
ever
struggle
comes
in
out.
Muggle studies with your friends. You can do Quidditch. You can do Quidditch against
gosh.
your
Let's
friends
go.
or
We
with
should do
your
that
friends.
together.
Yes, like I'm telling you, XpectoGO Army is already ready. That was a club, because you can build clubs within the game, and you can get up to, I think it's 50. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, of people in your clubs, and you just go for points, club points. We were killing it in the betas. We were like ranked in the top 5. I'm telling you, we're
That's
ready.
so
So
good.
I want to encourage you guys, if you're looking for something to play multiplayer while you're waiting for a DLC or something, check out Magic Awaken. Things are popping off pretty soon. Some of you guys might even have access to the beta, not to the beta, to the soft launch now. And so with them posting as regularly now as they are, definitely the global launch is coming soon. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun for those Harry Potter fans who still trying to get that itch and want to play with other fans. It's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, be on the lookout for that for sure. But I think we got everybody. One last thing, and it's something we do every Wednesday, and I will be doing it, but chat has asked you guys to participate.
Oh, snap.
And that
Participate.
a pirouette. If we get 100 likes, we have to do a pirouette for every 100 likes. We have 154 likes here. So if you want, you can do it in your chair if you don't feel comfortable. I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but
my dog's gonna attack me. If I do this.
James,
hold your dog.
30 second tutorial for us on how to pirouette.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can do it right.
If I would say, if you're right-handed, turn to the right. So you would like lift your right leg up, put your toe to your knee, and turn around to the right at the same time. So if you're standing there 2 feet, as soon as you turn, you shoot your right foot into your knee and turn to the right. If you're left-handed, same thing. Stand on 2 feet. As soon as you're about to turn, shoot that foot up, turn around, 1 pirouette. Try to turn your head as fast as you can to the front. So I usually try to fixate on one thing, usually the camera, and then go from there.
Okay,
that's
I'm
usually
nervous.
how
that's way more detailed than I thought.
Just don't forget to take your headphones off.
Yes, please take your headphones off. Yes, please take your headphones off.
That could be an issue.
Are you ready?
That will be.
You got to count it, James. You got to count us down visually.
Yeah, with visually. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I'll when I get to 3. So I'll do 1, 2, 3, and then we all turn. All right, everybody got it?
Sounds good.
Okay, all right, let's do it. Always got to adjust my camera on this one. Okay.
That was pretty good.
Let's go.
I don't know why I was like holding my breath, like I was like trying to be really quiet. Oh my goodness.
Fun.
Amazing.
Good job, everybody. Good job.
Good teacher.
Good job.
Very fun.
Oh my god.
Sounded like a lot. I had it.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm gonna fail at this. I hope I do it right.
Yeah, I've been doing I did ballet for like 15 years. So yeah, it's a requirement now, but it's pretty simple. It's fun. If Sue can do it, anybody can do it. She'll tell you. She will tell you. But that being said, we're going to get out of here. Again, thank you guys so much. Our panel, I cannot wait to talk again. Yeah, we got to do something next month, so we'll set something up. But those of you guys watching again, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the super chats, memberships, all of that. I hope you guys are enjoying the game and enjoying the conversations. Be sure to subscribe, follow everybody here on their socials. Just overall great human beings, and you don't have to worry about any toxic stuff from these cats. Like, just great people. So we're going to get out of here. We'll see you guys in the next one once I figure out how to close this. Until, because I hope we do next time.
Ryan Little.